Here we are, pre-show again for the NGE Shadowverse Open. We're on number 6 now. It feels like just yesterday that we got started.
Week number 6. We are almost halfway through. We still got the 4 weeks left, and then the 2 weeks of the playoffs, and then the finals after that.
Yeah, still a lot of Shadowverse to come, but
that's right.
Right now we're still waiting through the open entry area of the tournament. And joining us, once again, we would like to welcome Envy Bear back to the show to talk a little bit of Shadowverse with us. Envy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me again.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Now, the biggest thing to me that stuck out, that's real interesting, because we had a conversation with the one and only IS Senpai yesterday.
That's right.
And a big topic of discussion was Havencraft, right? And I still have it. It's still here. The curse will remain, and it's going to remain for the Western audience until we can actually have a tournament-winning Havencraft deck. But interestingly enough, in that week, Envy, and I'm not sure if you were tuned in for that, but in that week in the JCG, there was one winner on one of the tournaments that was able to push through with a Havencraft deck. This week, however, both Saturday and Sunday, there were Havencraft winners. They were playing Havencraft Shadowcraft as their 2 decks, and they were able to take the win for the tournament. Not only that, but the top 2 finishers of Saturday's tournament, both of them were running Havencraft Shadowcraft. What do we even make of this, Envy?
Well, first of all, congratulations, Haven, for being relevant.
Yeah, you
party
mentioned how
poppers.
you wanted.
Yay!
You mentioned a few weeks ago how you wanted
so
Haven.
it's about time,
to
really.
be on top.
I feel like Japan has always the Eastern has always been like the people who like innovate. I think the most with tournament decks, and I don't know. I feel like the West is content to just bring the same thing every week, with like a little bit different here and there, but. Yeah, I mean, it's up to Japan, I think, to change things around. So I'm actually kind of glad we saw some Aegis lists, some really interesting looking Aegis lists too.
Why don't we take a look at some of them? I believe we can pull up on screen the first one. Now there were 2 different kind of Havencraft lists running around. The ones on Saturday that were played were actually card for card the same. The one that was played on Sunday in the finals I'm talking about was slightly different. So when we have time, throw that up onto screen and we can see the exact differences. But one thing that I noticed for sure was that Ancient Lion Spirit, which was a card that I think a lot of people had a lot of faith in, people are now only taking 1 drop of. And Dark Jean, which was kind of a not really that well-explored card for a while, is now being brought en masse. 3 drops of Dark Jean. Do you feel like there's a better highlight? Oh my god, there's a dance party going on. I
was not ready for that.
I was not ready for that.
I mean,
people are partying for Havencraft
more than
right
welcome.
now.
I mean, I love a dance party as much as the next guy.
But before we get too sidetracked, sorry, Envy, tell us about the benefits of taking less Ancient Lion Spirits and relying on Dark Jean a little more.
It's all good. Ancient Lion Spirit, I mean, it's an evolve effect. It's 1 less mana than Dark Jean, but Dark Jean, if you have no board, is a very similar effect to Lion. What I see it as is basically they can't always evolve all of their lions, obviously. And if you don't have evolves, Lion is a dead card. Lion is horrible without evolves. So what it is basically Lion is acting as a 4th Jun in the deck. And I feel like all of them are going for that. They're all going for like the Aegis 4 Jun core, and that's what they're going for. That's how they're winning every game, I think. It's a target to just cover Dragon and Shadow in the most blanket way possible, I think.
And you've already got the Priest of the Cudgel, so you're spending your evolve points there. And most of these decks have 3 cudgels. And having a 3rd Ancient Lion or a 2nd Ancient Lion, you're not going to be using all those evolve points.
The other thing that's really interesting to me that I would love your thoughts on is the balance between Heavenly Hound and Frog Cleric being the 2 drops that are opted for in this deck. I know that there's some kind of 2 drops are kind of highly valued, I feel like, in Shadowverse. Heavenly Hound is not one that we would typically see too much. Maybe something like Unica makes a little more sense, but tell me a little bit more about why you think that these cards were included.
There was a time when Hound was like the 2 drop for Haven. But yeah, I mean, Unica heals. I mean, obviously it's a much better choice. I mean, 4 health ward for essentially for free, right? Because you're going to be evolving things anyway. Is obviously not bad, but I would prefer like a healing, like a Frog Cleric or a Unica in that slot. The ward is nothing to laugh at or anything either, but I think honestly, that 2-drop slot could really be any of those 3, as long as you don't get crazy and put like an aggressive 2-drop there. I think the point of the deck still fits, you know.
Well, let's take a look at the second. So obviously, the last things to note here is Heavenly Aegis. No test of strength, and Curie is that 7-drop to help tie that transition from the 6-7-8 over. But let's take a look at the other deck that was run, and this was brought by. We haven't mentioned the names of the winners yet, but this particular Havencraft deck that did run test of strength was a Sunday winner. Sunday's winner was Nohohon, is his name. And he brought this particular deck, Test of Strength. There was Radiance Angel was included, and this one uses Unica. And there's still a Frog Cleric that's in there.
And there's 2 Lion Spirits.
Right. So a little increase in Lion Spirit. I'm not really identifying. I mean, this deck seems to make a little more sense to me, but talk to us a little bit about it, Envy.
This deck is basically the super safe version of what they were trying to do. Obviously, if you're not as confident with this kind of list, or if you don't want to play any games, like you want Haven to perform and you want it to consistently keep you at a certain life total, and like you don't want to mess around, this is what you would play. A lot of healing, and Test of Strength is very powerful with Aegis, obviously. So.
It's interesting as well. It feels like that Test of Strength seems to be that same play point cost and cycled out for what was Prism Priestess in the other list. And I guess the Prism Priestess is just kind of helping you make your game more consistent. What do you think of that? Because Test of Strength in many ways is kind of a tough card to play early on, especially. Which do you prefer? Would you prefer to have Test of Strength or something like Prism Priestess instead?
I mean, if you're gonna play Test of Strength in your deck, obviously you want to have Test of Strength, like period. Like you need to have it. It's not a card you can play. Like Prism Priestess is not helping you at all against Dragon, and it's not helping you unless it's pulls Tribunal. It's not helping you at all against Shadow either. It's not doing anything for you anyway. So you can look at it effectively as a Test of Strength early game because it's not doing anything either. So.
Right. So just to go back a little bit here, the first place winner on Saturday's JCG tournament is a user called AAA. And then second place was Habu Mizuho. And then, of course, on Sunday, there was Nohohon, who we just talked about. And then Dunas was the second place finisher there. So those were all the winners. And it was Haven Shadow on Saturday. And then it was Haven Shadow, Dragon Shadow in second place there. And it's really interesting to me, Envy, and I would love to hear your thoughts as somebody who's kind of more accustomed to the Western tournaments as far as all the other events that run. We see, especially in the NGE Shadowverse Open, I feel like, but also outside of it, a lot of the Western players are running Shadowcraft as one of their decks, and then they're really relying on Swordcraft, I feel like, is the other deck that is very popular in the Western tournament scene. We've kind of chosen to use Swordcraft as our outside craft that is not Dragoncraft, right? Whereas it seems like Japan is really focusing on Havencraft in this way. Why do you think that is?
Dragon has been popular in the East for a long time, and Haven is just kind of like a target. Aegis is like a target to that dragon. So because everybody over there has dragon, it's like you might as well play something that targets against it, right? The West has been always a fan of Sword. We've been playing Sword since like since I started playing the game. Sword's been like tier 1 over here. So like we know how to play some Sword. We're accustomed to playing Sword. I think as long as the West sticks to playing Sword, sticks to playing Forest even, like a threat of roach combos and stuff, I don't see the Japanese meta creeping into us. I don't see Aegis Haven becoming like, you know, a possible really dominant thing, because it is targeting that dragon over there in Japan.
That's actually a very interesting point, because Forestcraft, as a general kind of deck usage overview for the JCG tournament of this last week, actually took a large hit. There were maybe only 10%, 16% of the decks were Forestcraft, maybe even less, and none of them actually made it to the playoff stage. So Forestcraft in the East has kind of taken a dive. And interesting that you mentioned that, Envy, because it definitely makes sense in terms of roach combos and not really having the tools to protect yourself. In many ways, the healing can help against a roach combo, but sometimes you just get taken down from 20 to none, right? And I wonder if that's something where I wonder if that's just something that the Eastern meta is choosing to look away from, choosing not to play Forest, because it's obviously very dominant in the East, or sorry, in the West. I would love to hear your thoughts on kind of why you think that is.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the East has, again, they've always been like that region that really likes to experiment and stuff. And showing 2 Haven decks were exactly the same. So I feel like leading up to this tournament, there was like, you know, a list floating around. There was like a Twitter somewhere or something. Or at least like some top players were sharing something. They were all talking, you know, like Haven's probably pretty good right now. Against Dragon, obviously. And yeah, I mean, they're the ones that experiment. We're the ones that usually catch up as far as kind of stuff goes.
Very interesting. Well, lots of stuff to think about, and I'm really looking forward to today's particular Shadowverse Open. Seeing maybe, I hope we can break the curse and Havencraft squeezes through, but I do feel like up against Sword, up against Forest, Havencraft might have a little more of an issue here if Dragon Shadow isn't necessarily I mean, we saw so many turns where it was half and half or even majority Swordcraft in a representation, but we'll see how that plays out. One other thing I would love to talk about, as we did with Aya Senpai, another one of the special guests that is going to go down to MomoCon later in the month is going to be yourself, Envy. I'm super excited to see you there, of course, but I mean, have you ever been to a convention in this fashion before?
I haven't. No, this is my 2nd time flying and my 1st convention ever. So
Second time flying
cool.
ever?
Yeah,
Wow.
2nd time flying ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I never like flying, no matter how many times I do it.
Yeah, so many of
I
my
loved
least
it. I don't
favorite
know.
things.
I loved it. So.
So many of my least favorite things all crammed together. There's
It
lines,
might be because I'm just
crowds.
like lanky, and my knees are constantly on the chair in front
Yeah,
of me.
Arthur and I are both tall chaps, so
Ugh.
flying, no.
Tall chaps. I like the terminology there. But I'm super excited. We're going to be doing a bunch of things. A Take-Two kind of special show event to kind of talk about Shadowverse, introduce the game to the attendees there, and then we're going to have time at the booth where you can come hang out with MV, Aya Senpai, Jeremiah, and myself, and lots of stuff to give away. We've got a lot of Shadowverse swag, and then of course in the evening there's going to be Shadowverse tournaments. What do you think you're going to be looking forward to the most, Envy?
The giveaways. Those are always fun to do. I love those. Yeah.
I keep trying to tell Cygames, hey, one of those bell ringer angel alarm clocks, I could use that in my hotel room.
Yeah, right. For an early Christmas gift in June.
In June
or in May.
Yeah.
Whatever month this is.
I'm really excited for that. But there's going to be a ton of fun stuff. Just a lot of Shadowverse and playing with a bunch of people and kind of showing the games to a lot of newcomers and kind of helping them guide their first few steps into the card game. I'm looking forward to giving the giveaways out and seeing what people get. I think there's some really cool like physical actual cards that we can give away.
No way.
So I'm really and I think some of them are legendary. So I kind of want to.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I wonder if we could. I'm so excited. I'm gonna see if Envy can get some and then see what she gets and probably like backdoor deal like, hey, I'll give you $5 if you give me one.
It's gonna be a little bit more than $5.
Yeah, $5. How far do you think $5 would go, Envy? Would that be a legendary, a physical
For a
legendary card?
Shadowverse card?
Yeah.
Those are priceless.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean? Have
Dang
you
it.
tried getting any? They're so hard to get.
Dang it.
A little more than $5.
Well, I'll figure something. Maybe a hamburger or something. I don't know. Something of value.
Yeah, some hamburgers cost more than $5.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, I'm super excited for MomoCon. And Envy, you've been doing a lot more stuff on your channel as well, right? Kind of getting into Shadowverse space. Could you tell us a little bit more about your recent endeavors?
Yeah, I've been Twitch streaming the game for a very long time now, but YouTube recently been doing a sort of Take-Two kind of like introduction, how to play each faction kind of thing. I'm only 2 factions in right now, but by the time we're at MomoCon, I'll be done with all 7. So
All 7? Man,
yeah, all 7,
I need some lessons on how to play Take-Two. That was like the only thing I played when I first started the game because I didn't have any cards. I was like, hey, I might as well play Take-Two, and I got absolutely dumpstered. But that's nothing new. But really, actually looking forward to watching a bunch of those videos. I feel like, what is it? You need to learn at least like 5 of the crafts to kind of consistently always have one you can play. Is that right?
I mean, if you get lucky, you can probably learn 3, I think. But yeah, if you know 4 or 5, you're set. You're good. Yeah.
Huh, very cool. Make sure you visit Envy Bear's channel. Envy, where can people find more of you?
That would be twitch.tv/nvbear or youtube.com/nvbeargg. So GG.
Cool. Make sure to go subscribe, like, follow. Wait, what? Do that
That
stuff.
would, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Those
those
are all
are
the
the
same
something,
words, yeah.
something like that. Envy will be continuing to talk with us throughout the tournament when we come back for the semifinals and then before the finals as well. So looking forward to having Envy share her insight on how the tournament progresses. But for now, we're going to get ready for NGE Shadowverse Open number 6. So sit tight. We'll be back in just a bit. welcome to NGE Shadowverse Open number 6. Six? I believe that's like the hand sign for 6 in like Asian countries, right? 4, 2, 6.
I'm not the person to ask about that. Unfortunately.
Maybe
I'm Sterling. This is rainy.
Yeah,
And it
I
is
always
week
forget
6.
to do that. Actually, I always forget. I just want to get into the matches and stuff. But
so pumped about the tournament, man.
mhm,
Yeah, I feel ya.
thank you very much,
Yep.
Sterling, for helping educate the audience about who we are. We're here for more Shadowverse competitive action, and to give you guys an overview of how the NGE Shadowverse Open works, let's take a look at the format as a whole. We're currently in the open bracket stages of the tournament, where anybody in North America can enter. The winner will receive a playoff invitation, and the others, the top placers, will receive points. And then for phase 1 of the playoffs, 16 players will be chosen. 10 from the direct invites and 6 others from the leaderboard points. And then the top 8 will actually win cash prizes, and the champion will be found phase 2 of the playoffs, June 20th. So lots of stuff to win, lots of stuff to do. Hey, and because we're over halfway, why don't we start taking a look at how those playoff invites are gonna shake down and what's gonna happen in terms of the leaderboard and who's making it there. Let's get a review. So, open bracket number 1 was Cure Mango, and of course number 2 Exodium, and then we got less MS Noah. And Shadow Nexus's Unlucker was just last week, and so we've still got 5 more slots there. Today we're going to figure out what open bracket 6, who the winner is going to be, and of course we could take a look at that leaderboard over there. Current top 6, so these are the people who are set, well positioned to move on to the playoffs. We've got CPV Stoles, we've got Auto Aim, of course, Pot Washer, SP Mart, Alternative, and Lux, and all these players we've definitely seen in broadcast many times. They've made it very far into the tournament multiple times.
That's right, and we currently haven't had a double win. Someone win 2 weeks of the tournament. So it could very well be that the players that are invited are all of the first place winners of the week. Because of course, if someone wins more than once, then that second invitation is void, and the person with the player with the highest points is invited.
We'll take another
instead.
one from the leaderboard by points. Let's take a look at what these players have to win today, though, because it's not just the playoffs that they win stuff. For the weekly tournaments, 30,000 vials for the first place finisher, the Flare for the weekly champion, and then a direct invite to the playoffs. Second will get 10,000 vials, third, fourth, 5,000 vials apiece. And of course, the NGE emblem for all participants of the tournament. So very happy to have you guys attend and participate and play in the tournament, even though maybe you're not going to make it to the top 8. But hey, we enjoy having you.
You get that emblem. I don't even have an NGE emblem.
Yeah,
I work here.
that's true.
Where's mine?
I don't think we're allowed to.
That's too bad.
We'll never have those emblems. Never. Ever. But hey, I'm excited to see who else will be collecting those flares. Those are pretty cool.
They're pretty
Mango
sweet.
actually made a really cool tweet where he was using one of the flares, and I think they
Oh,
look
yeah?
really cool.
Nice. Nice.
Would love to see some even cooler stuff. But let's take a look at the bracket for today and see who we have making it through. Jay-Z versus EXG Blaine. These two players very prominent in tournament play. Both Jay-Z and Blaine actually commonly place high. Blaine being commonly kind of a final finisher. He, if not winning tournaments, but very, very close consistently. So not surprised to see him here. Then we've got Sookie, and yet to be determined 2 players here, not yet made it.
That's right.
to
The
the
tournament's
round
still
of 8.
going on. Someone will surely move up to that spot soon.
And then we've got Joker 490 Frozen. Haven't seen that name before, but going to be interesting to see what they will bring to the table. And once again, here it comes.
MS Noah and Les, 2 of our finalists facing off in the round of top 8. That is going to be the match that I'm really looking forward to.
MS Noah was big talk last week because he almost made that repeat back-to-back win. Not just a repeat win, but back-to-back. God, that's so many alliterations are tough.
Back to back, yeah.
Back-to-back, but back-to-back. Yeah. But MS Noah almost going to make a second win last week, but got stopped ultimately. This time he's to the round of 8 again. incredibly consistent, which is very, very tough to do in the current format of single elimination.
Absolutely. So now, currently, 2 of our finalists are poised, possibly going to take this week 6.
And you know, the funny thing is, so the playoff invites, obviously, if you're already in the playoffs like Noah is, you're not going to be invited again, right? But if Noah ends up winning back-to-back or winning multiple first-place finishes, he's going to be way high on the leaderboard, and he's going to end up winning that MVP, Season 1 MVP champion flair.
That's right, yeah.
And I feel like, based on his current performance and how consistent he is, he's undoubtedly the most successful player.
Yeah, consistency is the name of Noah's game. He has been back here time and time again, showing his face multiple times in the round of 8.
And the cool thing about that, too, is he was very ahead, right? He was starting to run Swordcraft decks right from the start. He didn't waste any time running Dragoncraft. He just said, hey, Shadow Sword, that's my thing.
And now that's what everybody's doing, in the West at least.
So he's paving the way. But that's going to be how today's broadcast is going to turn out. We're going to be looking to jump into the game soon. But before we do that, make sure you go to shadowverse.nge.io. On our website, you can find much information like when the broadcast is going to start. Thank you for tuning in to the new time at 5 p.m. PST, of course. And you can figure out how to sign up for these tournaments to participate yourself, as well as get information on who the winners are and how the points are kind of distributed. As well, make sure you go to @WatchNGE, our social media channel, to figure out what the conversation is. You can also interact with us, talk about things. We love it when we see players' thoughts on the matches and how they're doing. I know a lot of the Mana Surge guys love to tweet at us about things, and we love it, of course, when you tweet about whatever you experience in the Shadowverse Open. Of course, make sure you go to the Twitch panels and check out our giveaway stuff. We're giving away stuff, 3,500 vials.
Enough to craft 1 legendary card, make it a good one.
Make it a good one.
Make it a good one.
Yeah. What would you craft?
I've already got 3 Ectors in my Shadow deck, 3 Cerberus, Cerberi.
The answer is Deepwood Anomaly. You failed the test. I'm sorry, Sterling. We won't see you next week.
I was not expecting you to say that, actually.
I realize
so,
that now.
I'm bad at this game, apparently, because I wouldn't craft Deepwood Anomaly, according to Arthur.
Yeah. So, hey, I really am curious what the players today will bring. I want to see Havencraft. I want to see it work.
Yeah, so do I. Oh, yeah.
It's tough because of exactly what Envy pointed out. Swordcraft is kind of the direction that we have to go in. It feels like there's a fork in a road, right? You could take the fate of playing Havencraft in tournament play, or you could take the fate of playing Swordcraft in tournament play, and I feel like the Western scene just kind of took the
all the way to
Swordcraft
Sword,
direction.
yeah.
While the Japanese scene was like, hey, we're all going to embrace Havencraft.
Envy brought up an interesting point about that, about how players in the West had already been playing Sword for quite a while.
Yes.
And so with the addition of just several new cards and the new expansion, it was just adding on to a much larger building block of a deck composition that's already well rounded out.
Meanwhile, of course, we're still mourning the loss of things like Bloodcraft that looked like it was going to be, the little train climbing up the hill, but it actually just like ran out of coal.
Ran out of steam
fuel.
and then just came right back down.
Yep, came right back down. And then Runecraft as well. We saw a few really cool Runecraft games in our casting of the Shadowverse Open, but maybe not going to see
Daria
that
decks with mutagenic bolt, things like that.
Yeah.
Alas.
Really cool. So let's jump into the first game here as the NGE Shadowverse Open kicks off. Blaine versus Jay-Z.
Do you think it's Jay-Z or is it Jazzy? This is definitely Jay-Z.
I think it's Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. We'll go with that.
I remember a specific time that I was actually casting with the very one and only Mofamoka, a very special person, and he said Jay-Z, and Jay-Z was like, oh, he pronounced my name right, so I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Jay-Z with this first turn he's got doesn't have a 1-drop, but Balian has the Taji. And he also has a 2-drop as well with the Lancer as well. There is a 2-drop, just came in the hand of Jay-Z from the Soul Squasher. So the tempo is going to be picking up for Jay-Z.
Yeah, so Shadowcraft Swordcraft is kind of the popular matchup that we've seen time and time again. And I feel like the matchup seems pretty even in many ways. Maybe leaning towards Shadowcraft a little bit in tournament play. I think a few more times it's been Shadowcraft beating out the Swordcraft deck,
Right.
and then the Swordcraft deck coming back to win against the alternate deck, and then whatever they bring as the alternate winning as well.
Yes. Definitely Catacomb and Hector having massive impact on these decks, being able to make sure you have a full board and then buff up those followers for a massive amount of face damage only on turn 7. So we'll see if Jay-Z can draw that card just like he needs to. But an Orthrus here going to be able to clear out that Lyrial Archer.
Yeah. Now, great thing about the combo that Jay-Z played was it guaranteed at least a follower ready to swing on turn 4, so Orthrus could be dropped. Floral Fencer on turn 4 for Blaine is going to be really great. You can spend the Evolution Orb here to try to gain back some control. So far, the most concerning thing is Jay-Z's next turn, great, Cerberus, but he really only has 2 turns to draw into an on-curve Ector, which is really, I feel like, a very important point for Shadowcraft to hit, especially if it's not necessarily
He did just come into a
killer
Shadow
game.
Reaper. We'll see if he's probably going to want to play the Cerberus Evolve, tackle into the Fencer there just to get the Coco and Mimi. But
I wonder if you do something like Bone Chimera Shadow Reaper, if you just get a wide range of bodies on the board and start pumping up that Shadow Reaper a lot.
he does have the perfect amount of play points for just that turn. You could evolve the Bone Chimera and use that to trade into the Fencer as well, ensuring that the Reaper kind of gets buffed up this turn.
The interesting thing is, if you pump up your Shadow Reaper too much, especially against Swordcraft, you actually run the risk of hitting into its Tsubaki. So I feel like Jay-Z will be a little bit cognizant of that and try to play around it. But of course, we know that currently there's no Tsubaki in hand.
Right. And it's not always a card that all the Swordcraft decks usually run. Sometimes a Sword deck will elect to bring Cyclone Blade instead of Tsubaki for more of AoE clear. But like you just mentioned, the Sword deck, it's more people build the Sword deck to go up against Dragoncraft, to go up against Havencraft, not Shadow.
Yeah. Tough situation here for Blaine, as is classic with the Shadow Reaper. There's so many cards on the board, and the more you clear, the stronger the Shadow Reaper gets. And you still have that turn 6 where you can play Cerberus and keep buffing up that Shadow Reaper. And so I think Blaine made the right choice here to go for face.
And that's a lot of damage he
he's
just
trying to spread
took.
out his health. He's trying to make sure that both his cards are healthy. Didn't evolve the Albert for the extra 2 damage on that particular card. Chose to put it on his 2/2.
But these are a lot of skeletons that are about to go down to clear this board. Soul Squash are going to be able to take out the Steelclad Knight, but that's still a full board of followers that Jay-Z has the ability to get rid of
Oh, man.
to make that Shadow Reaper even stronger. And there's not a Tsubaki in
man.
hand. That is one beefy Shadow Reaper.
Yeah. This is going to be really difficult right now. Shadow Reaper up to 7 damage, plus the Evolve on Orthrus is going to take a chunk of Blaine's health out here. He needs some way to be able to clear out this board.
The evolved Geno would be able to take out the Shadow Reaper, or the evolved Lyrial Archer as well.
I think that might be the option he goes for. The Geno is still going to have Rush, so he can take down 2 of the cards at the very least.
Right.
That's really, I mean, drawing into that Shadow Reaper was so effective for Jay-Z. Main Leader is the only other choice here, so he's leaving 4 damage on the board, and that's going to mean Cerberus can come in.
Yep, Cerberus is going to come in. He's going to have the perfect 2 points remaining for Coco and Mimi to both do their effect, and Jay-Z's going to be able to take this game 1.
I should have foreseen this.
Very, very tough. Really, it came down to that board situation, the Bone Chimera. Such a strong card. I mean, you think about Shadowcraft and in terms of like guaranteeing that you have a card on next turn that's able to swing, and that happened multiple times, either through Catacomb or through Bone Chimera. And then just being that the Shadow Reaper with that ambush effect in many ways is similar in the sense of like a card that is very tough to remove, and in that particular case, unable to be removed, right? So it guarantees that it has the opportunity to swing. And that currently is Shadowcraft's biggest strength. There's not a good way to kind of clear out their cards, so you're going to be taking damage to face most of the time. I feel like unless you have some kind of ward option or some kind of actual removal spell, area of effect kind of thing, you're not going to be able to mitigate that kind of damage. 10 damage on the turn was enough to close it out, plus a Cerberus in hand, especially at 7 play points where you can play the Cerberus and then play the cards. It's just instant damage, especially if you have board control.
And now we're going into this second game of this series. It's going to be a mirror matchup. Jay-Z going back to his, going down to his sword deck.
My boss works us to the bone. Leave it to me.
He's got the veteran Lancer here. Blaine's going to run the sword again. And typically, you know, as per Conquest format, you actually do want to run what you believe your slightly more counter-oriented deck is, right? The deck that you're confident can win either matchup, you want to run last. The deck you feel has a stronger matchup against one of their decks, you want to run first, because you don't want to miss the opportunity to hit into that deck.
We're together forever.
Sort of ensuring your chances of victory even more.
Strength and
Very
beauty
interesting.
together.
2-1 and 4-1, and that's kind of an awkward situation in a Swordcraft matchup. Gonna have to spend a Floral Fencer here.
Now bringing the Fencer down to 1 health. Aerial Archer could evolve, go for face for a lot amount of damage, and also use its ability to just get rid of the Fencer just like that. And you still have an Albert as well, or Luminous Mage if you wanted to use that this turn as well.
There's a lot of Storm in hand, and if there's ever a situation where Jay-Z gets a step up, he's going to be playing all those Storm cards to be taking momentum of the game, pushing Blaine lower and lower and lower. I think the dangerous thing here is Blaine has both Dance of Death and a Fangblade Slayer. If you ever get to the point where that Fangblade Slayer comes down, given the current hand that Jay-Z is running, I don't think there's a good way for him to buy himself out of the late game. But he could end up just rushing this out, especially if there's, I mean, Luminous Mage, I would imagine, would be taken down by an Evolve, and then maybe use Dance of Death to remove some kind of, I don't know.
I do
either
like the
the
Dance of
Albert or
Death
one
in
of the
this
Albedas.
sword mirror matchup, because typically on turn 5, Albert's going to be coming down. And it could be the only, if you've been trading for control the whole time, Albert could be the only card on your side of the field. And if you choose to evolve it, Dance of Death, it's such a prime target.
Especially against the evolved Albert, but I feel like just in general, Albert's going to kind of gain his value just because of his Storm, right? He's going to still be doing damage to your face.
Right.
And so almost I think the Dance of Death is more valuable against the Luminous Mage, just in the sense that Luminous Mage does get value because you get that free evolve.
Right.
But at least you don't take damage to face. I feel like against Albert, you much more want things like Ward and whatnot.
Definitely.
Because if Jay-Z can't drop, or if Blaine can't drop Ward, the next 2 turns, there's still lots of damage coming in to face, and there's really, even if Blaine clears the board, that damage is still going to happen, right?
And there's a real difficult hand for Bailey, and a difficult board that he's got to deal with. Dance of Death could clear off the Albert, and his 2 knights could trade into the Lyrial Archer. But just clearing the board like that and emptying your own board of followers, giving Jay-Z a free hand.
Fortunately for Blaine, he still has 2 Evolution Orbs spent here, and he really needs to make a read on the situation and understand that those Evolution Orbs are valuable right now. Right now is a time, because he's at very high risk of just being rushed down.
So this is the end.
He's going to be able to leave the Geno on his side of the field with 2 health. Really great, but this Alwedas could trade into that easily, or this enhanced
man.
Geno that he just drew.
That's going to give him some good control here by some of the 2 knights.
And Balian was forced to use an Evolve Orb, but Jay-Z did not have to use an Evolve Orb to maintain his field.
Oh, trying to pull a commander. Awkward situation here. Going to be able to clear it out. And so just the 3 from Alwedas, or the, I mean, with the Evolution as well, or the 3 from Albert. Oh, and another Albert being drawn in. Getting ever so slightly to that 8 play point range. That's going to be so important for Blaine, but he went second, so he's going to be tailing. He's going to be tailing Jay-Z, and it's super important because that means Jay-Z's going to, get the enhanced Albert quicker.
Right, exactly. That could be what determines this match. If Jay-Z is able to hang on to that last Evolution Orb, just maintaining control, and he's going to need to get at least 1 more damage of face. Before the enhanced Albert will be able to do maximum of 10 damage to face. And the Luminous Mage is going to help him do that. He's going to be able to have essentially a free evolve 1 turn.
Jay-Z also is put in a tough situation because he really has to make the right decision of clearing board or going face.
He's going to use his last evolve orb on the Pirate here.
Now that hurts in some senses because evolve plus storm means a lot of damage to face, but he's not concerned as well because he does have so many innately storm cards that he can kind of still fight for a lot of board control. despite the fact that he may be going up against some very strong cards in the near future. The Grimner I love as well because now it means Fangblade Slayer twice, and then the Grimner for the Killing Blow can be real tough for Jay-Z to push past.
Jay-Z just came into an excellent 8 play here, drawing that Novice Fencer
man.
on turn 8, having a perfect 8 play points to get rid of, buffing up his followers even more. He's going to be able to clear the board and do a massive amount of face damage.
So this is it. This is.
That's going to be GG. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not going to. Bailey's not going to be able to do enough damage to face it. The enhanced Albert is going to be able to close out this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big benefit of playing. Oh, and he gets a Fangblade Slayer. He's going to use it.
He didn't
to
even need
finish
the
it.
Albert.
Yeah, he didn't even need the Albert in the end. And that's that was the real concern, right? There were a lot of late game options for Blaine, but he just didn't have the options he needed against the sheer amount of Storm that was available for Jay-Z.
Right.
So Jay-Z, hey, 2-0 is going to be able to push through and Blaine falls. I think it's tough to deal with that situation just because it is a mirror match, right? And so you're one step behind your opponent because you went second,
Right.
as well as you didn't quite get the defensive options you needed. And by the time you were able to counterattack, which is basically what Fangblade will let you do, right? Both clear the board and do damage to your opponent and start swinging the momentum in your favor. There was too much health on the side of Jay-Z to make that a threat for him.
Right. And going second, you have the evolve point advantage. But in a sword mirror matchup, both players have the ability to use the Luminous Mage. So the
Yes.
evolve orb advantage is almost a moot point in this
Very-
matchup.
It's interesting that you bring that up, right? Because both the Luminous Mage as well as Geno having Rush, especially on the enhance and drawing into that right when you needed it as well, means that evolve point struggle of like not being able to clear the board on the turn that you're playing, right? Before not disallowing the cards to swing basically because you remove them, is not necessarily a factor, especially in that game. Jay-Z was very comfortable with his resource management there.
Definitely. So well played to Jay-Z. We'll be seeing him in the semifinals. Going to be going into the second round of 8 game here in just a moment.
Let's take a look at the bracket to see what that's going to be. Of course, Jay-Z is going to be moving on, so he's in the semis now. And we're going to be watching Sookie and CK Underwear. It's a great...
Bit of a lewd name.
Hey, everybody needs underwear, all right?
That's true. Everybody needs underwear.
Everybody needs underwear. Some underwear in your lives, very comfortable, very nice. It's, if you go without underwear, that you're missing out.
I'm just going to let you keep going
You're
on
missing
this
out.
thread.
I've never met anybody who said that they did not like underwear.
That's very true. That's very true.
So maybe this person's a fan. Spreading the good word.
Very
So
true.
we'll see. We'll see if Sookie and CK Underwear. What a great name. I love that
is
so
pretty
much.
great,
CK Underwear will push through. I'm still waiting. I see that there's the Roland emblem, which I want to see Roland play.
Could mean anything. It's such a good card, though. Having 5 defense on ward, and then the amulet only do 4 damage. It's so hard to play.
I
against.
want it
It's
to
so
be
annoying.
I want it to be more playable.
Especially in Take 2. That card is nasty in Take 2. Oh my gosh.
You might be absolutely right. I've never really had a Take 2 draft with Roland before. But hey, maybe that's something I can look forward to.
It is going to be the shadow on shadow matchup.
Play together.
It's either going to be a very quick game or a very long one. We'll see what this shapes out to be. CK Underwear versus Sookie. The winner of this match goes against Jay-Z, who has the Sword and Shadow decks.
Dark Conjurer animated. Man, that actually is. I feel like that's one of the cooler animated cards. It's got like lightning flash.
Lightning
going.
flashing. That's so cool.
Like how it's got the blue and the red as well, but red like it's kind of evil. It's awesome.
Sookie is running the Skeleton Fighter in his deck. That's a lot of players seem to avoid that card, thinking it's not very good. It's a 1/1/1 drop, and if you have a Shadow, it gains 2/2, which it seems nice, but most of the time you really only need the Skull Beast, and he's going to even use a Soul Conversion on the Skull Beast.
I really like that combo, by the way. The Skull Beast giving you a bunch of shadows.
It gave him the shadows he needed to buff up the Skeleton Fighter.
Yeah. It's so great. All right, Grimner early here for Underwear.
And Grimnir is such a good card in this matchup. Being able to have 2 attack and then 3 points of ward, so a 2/2 follower on the previous turn, cannot trade into it very effectively. So if you go first, it's such an excellent 3-drop to have.
What's interesting here is, of course, play 3 was not Catacomb, and it's not going to be Catacomb either for Sookie. And it's kind of, your Shadow Reaper is just coming down here with little to no assistance, right?
Right.
Now you have a Skull Beast, great. You swing it in for 1 trade, but then you're going to need to evolve.
And Sookie has a Shadow Reaper of his own.
Yeah. It's just really awkward. Now, what this means is Underwear Shadow Reaper is going to get to swing face, but... Oh, nice. Evolving it to try to give it a little bit of extra health here. I don't think he's going to want... Yeah. And it's just a really tough spot. Okay, so Cerberus comes down, and this is kind of a weird situation. There's no cards for Underwear to kind of trade into, but he does have a lot on the board right now that could be tough for Sookie to remove, especially after taking damage to face.
Right. Sookie sitting at 4 shadows, but the Soul Squasher is in the hand of Underwear, and he only has 2 shadows. Depending on how Sookie plays this, if he clears off those 2 followers, that'll put Underwear at just the position he needs to be to get rid of this, Reaper.
In Sookie's hand, 2 Dance of Deaths. He's got the Ector. He's got even a Phantom Howl, and he's got Cerberus. So there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of tools, and this is one of the situations. I feel like last week we saw a lot of situations where players had a lot of great cards to tide them over and push them into the further rounds, but not really what they didn't really have the cards to end the game. I feel like in this particular game, Sookie has a lot of cards that can really push for ending a game, but are the 2 Dance of Deaths enough to kind of help get him there? We'll see.
I think it's going to be very difficult to make those Dance of Deaths worth it in this matchup. We haven't seen a Catacomb yet. And if an Ector comes out, then all those zombies, it's going to be real difficult to get some value off of the Dance of Death.
Probably going to evolve here.
Want to play? I haven't let loose
Has to
lately.
make a choice. Goes for the Skull Beast.
Leaving the Cerberus available to be evolved next turn.
And I think that Sookie is okay. I think he's kind of deciding that he's fine with the Cerberus being able to evolve and do a little more damage to face. He's kind of banking on kind of looking for a situation where he can swing forward with his Dance of Death and kind of get a lot of value off of that. Maybe even play Ector in a good way here and cause Underwear to keep spending resources.
Right, and what a difficult position that Sookie is going to be in.
And he does. Underwear does spend that extra resource there.
Yeah, and Underwear is going to be able to play Ector next turn as well, gaining a massive advantage. Going first, you can play Ector first. And in a shadow-on-shadow matchup, that's absolutely crucial.
All right. Triple ward set up here.
I'll show you.
Next turn is going to be Ector, and so there's a lot of incentive for Sookie to clear board now.
He's going to be able to get rid of 2 of the zombies, well, which is really, really nice. But still, there's 3 shadows, so the Ector is going to be able to only summon 1 zombie. That zombie can trade in the Cerberus just fine, and dealing another 4 damage from the zombie with ward.
Very awkward spot here. I mean, okay, so he's going to play Coco here to buff up. Perhaps swing face and use a Soul Squasher?
He could. Yep, he's got 4 shadows now from that Coco.
There it is. And he's still got Orthrus in hand, and that's really going to help kind of clear the board. He's going to use it just to buff up even more.
50-50 chance, giving that attack damage to the zombie.
And now Ector becomes a highly valuable card for Underwear. Board clear is an absolute must. What a great line of play from Underwear. Good decision.
Yeah, really good. Lucky with the Orthrus, but well done nonetheless. So he's gonna use the Coco there to get rid of the zombie. Really nice.
He can, he popped the Mimi. He can still use the Coco to take down.
And he still has a Mummy in his hand for Storm effect as well if he wants to use those shadows. But that's 4 shadows that aren't going to be used to summon zombies from Ector next turn if he wants to use that.
Yeah. He can still ping 1 for 2. And then use the rest of the ghosts to clear off.
It's the pits for you. Hey, why so angry?
Sookie's going to be able to clear this board, but Underwear has been able to gain a massive advantage in this game. He's sitting at 19 health while Sookie still only has 10. It was that zombie that, with the Orthrus that he was able to buff up that really made the difference.
Death's Breath. We talked about how important it is for Shadow to just that idea of board control, right? How do you get yourself into a situation where you can have that follower survive that extra turn? Death's Breath was just a little bit too much for Sookie to remove. And here we go again.
Underwear emptying out his hand, calling out Sookie. This is it. This is the last stand.
And I don't think there's a way you can clear out all of it. I mean, if you play the Ector, you get, what, 2 zombies?
2 zombies, and then
That's still, yeah.
and then the mummy won't have its effect as well, and you don't have an evolve point to use on the Lyriel as well.
So even if he does clear out 2 of the zombies, he leaves 4 damage on board that can be buffed up to
8 with
8,
Mimi, that's
and
10
then Mimi.
damage.
Yep.
Hey, why so angry?
What a situation. There it is. Underwear is going to be taking
Perfect
the first
amount
one.
of 10
Oh,
damage.
he dropped the thanks. He dropped the thanks.
It's like a GG in this situation, I feel like.
GG.
It's the pits for you.
There it is.
Wow.
Yeah, well done, Underwear.
I don't think we saw a single catacomb that game. In fact, that's the only catacomb that
the
was
first
drawn,
one that came
right?
into hand.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. I mean, Shadowcraft mirrors are real. They're real back and forth, right? You get somebody who has momentum, and that can turn on its head if Ector comes to play on curve. But it just didn't quite happen that way for Sookie in that situation. He couldn't ever buy back that space, that ground that he was losing, just turn after turn. And so he's going to go down 0-1.
With the way the curve worked out, you'd think that maybe there weren't 3 catacombs in each player's deck. I'm sure there are. We see that a lot, but I don't know. You never know. Either way, well done by Underwear. We're going to be going into the second game of the series relatively soon.
Shadowcraft is such an interesting deck type. I feel like it's a good middle ground between early aggression and kind of the punch that you need late game, right? The reach that was available in that situation, 10 damage off of that was actually really excellent. The fact that you were able to pressure that 10 health early on in the game as well, just by playing a lot of great cards, giving you a lot of board control and swing for face. I think Shadowcraft is just a really good mix of it. Very different from, say, maybe like a Forestcraft game where, you know, you're really just kind of stalling and surviving, and you know, if you get face damage, that's great, but you're really waiting for that roach combo to hit, that all the pieces to fall into place, right? But Shadowcraft really seems much more consistent in the sense that it can kind of ramp up to its, you know, it has a nice gradual increase to its win condition.
Underwear going over to his dragon deck. And we'll see that what Sookie chooses to do with the Shadowcraft deck that he's elected to stay on. He's going to mulligan both of the catacombs. Really wanted to get a 1-drop right there and kept the mummy. Wanted to keep the 2-drop as well. But there's a ward and an alien in the hand of Underwear as well. So he's going to be able to ramp. He's going to be able to mitigate a lot of the damage with that ward from Grimnir.
Rahab, Grimnir, plus Isla. And it seems like that could just be enough, perhaps, to turn this game around. But Sookie having the 1-drop and the 2-drop, and then the Shadow Reaper in hand as well, would really prefer to have Catacomb right now to guarantee that he can move into turn 4 with a bunch of stuff, so that Orthrus can gain an incredible amount of value.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Shadow Reaper here, he's going to be able to trade the fighter and the mummy in if he wants to do that. Buffing up the Shadow Reaper even more and clearing the board. Rabbit Necromancer,
that's going to work
not a
out
card
for
we see
him,
that often.
right? That's pretty much going to guarantee that the Shadow Reaper exists for turn 4, and that's where he's going to find value with the Orthrus. Oh, he actually just waited. And I think this is fine, because Underwear is going to want to trade into those cards anyways.
Right.
And I think Sookie is relying on at least 1 point of damage to be dealt to Grimnir, so that Orthrus is going to gain value no matter what. There it is. Yep, this is going to be a strong play for Sookie here.
Depending on what Sookie chooses to do, if he trades the Skull Fighter into the Grimnir, it essentially would have had the same outcome if Sookie had chosen to trade both the fighter and the mummy into it on the last turn.
He could opt to ramp his opponent
And he's
And he
going to choose
does.
to do that.
Now is he going to evolve the Shadow Reaper?
I've got to take a break.
If he does, that leaves it with 5 defense. Perfect target
So,
for
what's
Breath
interesting-
of the Salamander, and next turn that could be coming out from Underwear. So a risky play from Sookie, of course.
Yeah. The
Let's see
other
what the
thing
draw
you could
is.
do is opt to use Lightning Blast to just be rid of that
Right.
entirely. But I think you... Hard to say because you don't get a follower on the board. But it might be the case anyways.
And he's going to use the Lightning Blast.
Yep.
Yeah, an Evolve Sybil would have given you the ramp, but it would have died, and so you wouldn't have gotten the healing. And you would have had to have spent an Evolve Orb. So you would have been down an Evolve Orb, and you would have ramped, but I think just getting rid of the Lightning Blast here saves an Evolve Orb, and he still has the Sybil in his hand for next turn.
Interesting turn here for Sookie. He can drop something like Necromancer and the Goblin or Soul Squasher even to try to put cards on the table to set up for an Ector in the future.
Right. You would like to have a Catacomb, I think.
He's going to buff up.
Yep.
5 damage here. And I like this just because we did talk about that reach that Shadowcraft has, right? If
Right.
you put your opponent low enough,
Suke's been able to go for a lot of damage this early in the game. This is what Shadow is all about.
the only thing that's really tough in this situation is if you didn't stock up your resources to blow out your opponent,
Bluest water.
it's very easy for Dragoncraft to kind of heal himself just out of danger, and then all of a sudden you're stuck in a late game situation. I mean, he's got 9 play points now. He's still got Ouroboros. He's still got the Evolution Orb to trade the Ouroboros in.
He still has 2 Rahobs as well, and with 5 defense, it's a real difficult target for those empowered zombies from Ector. So a double Rahob right before Suke goes on turn 7 could be a great play, saving himself from a lot of damage.
Sookie could potentially put himself in a situation where in turn 7 he can swing for the kill, but there's, like you said, there's so many options in Underwear's hand, and he's going to be at 10 play points, so he can play a lot.
Right. So sad to see those 3 shadows when you've got a Soul Squasher in hand.
Yeah.
But this is turn 10 coming up for Underwear.
Almost
Gonna
come
push
to an
just
end.
a little bit of extra damage here.
And use the last Evolve Point just to bring Underwear down to 7 health.
So Ouroboros is not really going to be able to kill itself on any of those cards.
Right. There's not a Bahamut. There is
Oh,
a Breath of the Salamander.
Salamander.
That would clear the board and prevent a lot of the
And
face
he can
damage from
play the
Ector.
Rahab as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be the strongest option.
Right. You get to clear the board and save an Evolve Point, but we'll see if that Evolve Point can really make a difference if he's able to save it this turn.
My tempest shall judge you.
He's going to play Grimner on 10
You're mean.
and save his Rahabs and Salamanders. And I actually kind of like that choice. What a dangerous situation here.
It won't be long now.
Gonna evolve to try to give it a little more health.
My
He knows that if
power is
Ector's coming out,
uncontrollable.
Suke only has 3 shadows, so only 1 zombie is going to be able to come out. But that's a Cerberus. Oh, absolutely necessary.
Not quite at 8 play points, so he's not gonna be able to play the Rabbit Necromancer and the Cerberus.
Right.
And what's dangerous is Rabbit Necromancer kind of bypasses a lot of situations, right? Because when it dies, it'll do damage to face, which could put Sookie in the situation where he could finally close out that 7 health. But this is kind of the situation I was talking about. You played some resources, you use your Evolution Orb to kind of get that extra swing on Dragoncraft, and now it might actually just be backing away enough and defensible enough that Underwear can turn the situation around and take a win.
Yeah, Dragoncraft has gotten really beefy. He's at those 10 play orbs. And he has
Oh my
healing
gosh.
and ward and
I
face
think
as
the
well.
strategy here for Sookie is to continue playing face until the Rabbit Necromancer might come in range, or try to overpower with things like Ector. Getting the heal, though! he profited 1 health here.
Sorry, gotta go.
And coming into a second Breath of the Salamander, that's got to feel real good. Trading the 2-cost breath into the Cerberus as well.
Oh, the Phantom
Phantom
Howl,
Howl.
but not quite.
And with only 6 shadows, or
He has
he
no
has 6
evolution
shadows.
orbs.
Right.
The only rush he can get is from Ector. Maybe this is the smartest play, because that's going to be the best chance of you having cards transitioning into turn 9. I mean, if you play Rabbit Necromancer, you're not going to get any value off of it. You could get Rabbit Necromancer, then Phantom Howl, and try to make something work there with the Coco in hand. But either way, it feels like a very uncomfortable set of options for Sookie.
Underwear has managed to hold on to both the Rahabs that he drew pretty early in this game, actually. So hats off to him for holding on to those high-value cards. And definitely earn a much larger advantage with
He's got
Rahab
the
later in the
Israfil
game.
heal
Does
as
have the
well.
Israfil,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, here comes Ector. The only thing is Israfil won't be able to swing, which is kind of one of the best things to do. We'll be able to get rid of the ward.
But Israfil, he's going to be able to get the healing from it. And Sookie doesn't really have an option in his hand to get rid of it.
Ouroboros is the card of choice here. Looking for 3, and the Salamander gets 2 more to face, and slowly but surely, if he draws, is there anything
Cerberus.
he could draw to win? 5 and 4 with the Cerberus, but it's gonna be 2 Rabbit Necromancers, and I think it's over. He needs to play the Phantom Howl to clear.
Yep.
But Ouroboros drop on Underwear to get the direct damage plus the swing.
Oh, man.
So he needs to clear both, or he needs to clear the Ouroboros. Actually, should be the priority. No. And I think that choice to clear out the Isle
I think that just
was the
ended
nail
it.
in the coffin.
He could still summon Rabbit Necromancer, but there's not going to be a way he's going to be able to destroy that. Ouroboros can attack for face,
Oh no.
plus the 3 damage from the second Ouroboros.
And you know, Sookie has to, you may as well, right? You may as well play the situation out in this way and just cross your fingers and hope your opponent doesn't have the option. But of course, we know Underwear. Oh, and he got a third one
Got
too.
the third one. He's
Is
running
Underwear gonna
3 in
drop
this
the
deck.
Is he gonna say something? He's thinking.
He's thinking he wants to
You
be
know you can end it.
100% positive.
Oh my
Does
gosh.
not want to misclick or make a misplay here.
Yeah, misclick, that would be tragic. Closes it out. Dragon Shadow from CK Underwear is going to push him into the semifinals. We've seen two 2-0s now in the quarterfinals. What a way for this situation to play out. So far, I believe we have Sword Shadow and then Dragon Shadow in the semis on the top end. Let's take a look at the bracket really quick here and kind of see what the rest of today has to offer. EXG 5 pawns coming in against Joker 490
Oh,
Frozen.
nice. 5 pawns.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of EXG members representing, and they're very consistent tournament placers. Of course, Mana Surge's Noah and Les, and there we had an update. Jay-Z is actually also from Mana Surge as well, so Mana Surge is representing in a very strong fashion. CPV, Shadow Nexus, Crimson Fencer, all these clans here. I think out of all of them, EXG and MS and Mana Surge might be storming ahead now.
Yeah, I love to see the way these teams shape out in the tournament, whether or not it's going to be 2 people from the same team or a player-on-player rival from different teams. Either way, really interesting to watch.
Hey, make sure you follow @WatchNGE. That's going to give you all the updates about what's going on, things that are cool, maybe even a little clip here and there, a nice highlight clip, a little bit of a conversation. Can talk to even some of these pros. Some of them like to ping us on Twitter, talk about things.
The
And,
cool ones do.
The cool ones.
Everybody
do.
who's cool is doing it.
Nobody who talks to me is cool. I
mean, I talk to you. What are you saying?
Mm.
What are you saying, man?
Well, you could probably use your brain to surmise what the situation is.
Saying I'm not cool?
Hey, maybe. I don't know. That's what you
I
said.
know I'm not cool, but I'm a total nerd. Total nerd.
Hey, this time I got Dark Angel Olivia on my side of the desk.
I've got the twins.
I'm always
over
very
here.
scared to. Let's try to pull it into
I'm so
focus
scared to
here.
move that thing, man.
Hey, I'm gonna leave it right there. I like Olivia on my side because I think she's such a cool card.
That's a great card, yeah.
Coco and Mimi, I feel like if I turn my back, they're gonna pull out a dagger and stab me with it. So I'm gonna stay away
Like
from them.
some like horror movie, the
Yeah.
cute, cuddly stuffed animal is what brings you to your demise.
Yep. Exactly like that.
It's a movie in the making.
I can
Trademark,
never
don't
watch
take it.
those kinds of movies. I hate horror movies.
I hate horror movies too, man.
Never.
We were watching like a spoof horror movie the other day,
Mm.
and I like jumped at like a silly
He
moment.
still got scared.
Like
at the
it was
spook.
terrible. It was so embarrassing.
All right. Oh, the Chun-Li, yes!
Chun-Li.
Mother, father.
We've got some Street Fighter. This is the first one that we've seen in the NGE Shadowverse Open. I'm so
Not
excited.
bad. We see a lot of sword, but this is the first Chun-Li.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think the Street Fighter collaboration, when I first heard of it, it was kind of like, it's kind of random. And then when it came, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I first saw it when I logged into the game to play that day, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Hey, Side Games has a 6 Street Fighter team, so excited for that. Thinking about their mulligans a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's
There's
gonna
a
be
great curve here for
Uh-oh.
5 pawns.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
Bit of an issue, but we're going to be going back
Yeah.
into game shortly.
We gotta make sure that the pipes. We gotta make sure that they're actually like well connected and that
pipes.
information. Yeah, the pipes that information can pass through.
Wires, I think they're called in some places.
Wires. Yeah. Who uses that term?
Who uses wires?
Honestly, you call up internet.
Pipes is where it's at.
Yeah. Hey, I think it worked.
Mother, father.
Huh.
Come on.
Oh.
Now, let's
All right.
begin.
Can they get past the mulligan? That is the
Yes.
question.
Mulligans are, of course, the same, and we'll see what players decide to do as far as what cards to get rid of.
Swordcraft for Shadow, and like I mentioned, actually a very popular kind of matchup that we see in the NGE Shadowverse Open.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I will bet you $5 that we're gonna have to retry this. We're the ones mulliganing right now, actually. Oh.
And the Sword and Shadow matchup
Yes.
is so interesting because sometimes I'd be interested to know if he's built his sword deck to specifically go up against Shadow if he's got the Cyclone Blade instead of the Tsubaki. If he's
Cyclone
got,
Blade is a card we haven't seen in a long
no,
time.
I don't think we've ever seen it actually in the NGE Shadowverse Open.
You're probably right.
It's a great card though.
It's cool.
It's like Sword's staple AoE clear.
I like the card because it has good synergy with a duck. So that's
It does
mine.
have great synergy with Duck. And also has great synergy with the Frog.
Oh yeah.
If you've got the Frog that's been buffed up and
Yeah.
you've got a lot of those neutral cards that give extra attack and extra defense, and you've only got the Frog on your side of the field anyway.
Mhm. The Vagabond Froggy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, sorry about that. We'll make sure we get the game up and running as soon as possible. But in the meantime, you can go to shadowverse.ng.io and find out more about the tournament. Also, when we broadcast, who the winners are, what's cool, what's not cool. You'll definitely not see my face on there. But you will see the names of some of these tournament winners who are pretty cool guys. I've met a lot. I've not met. I've talked to a lot of them. Pretty awesome.
Cool.
So, what is your prediction for today? Do you think Swordcraft is going to take another tournament win?
Considering that MS Noah runs his Sword deck, I have got a very good feeling that Sword is going to be going very,
You're going
very far
for
in
you're
this
going for
tournament.
Noah. Is Noah your horse in the race?
He's my horse in the race. I'm putting my chips on him.
Mhm.
If I were a betting man,
Hmm.
statistically, it's much more likely.
I want to see the rest of the round of 8 plays before I commit.
Right.
See, that's how I do it. So what's going to happen is I can see if Noah actually gets knocked out, then I can be like, haha.
Okay, so you're going to ask me for my predictions,
Yeah.
and then you're just going to slowly evade,
Yeah.
not have to commit yourself to anything. I see. Okay, all right. Bit of a
This
sly
is-
dog over here.
I've never won any kind of gambling in my life. To be fair, I've
Never
never
won,
gambled
ever.
a lot.
I haven't
Yeah.
gambled. I don't gamble.
It's
anymore.
always been like when I'm not gambling, like if we were to play like poker for fun or something like that,
Then you do really well.
then I do really well, but nothing was on the line. Maybe that's why I do really well. But then whenever it
So
came
you're
time to
relaxed.
actual-
You know nothing's on the table. You're not going to lose anything. So
Mhm.
you're relaxed. You're not giving anything away by sweating or whatever.
Yeah, by just doing the most ridiculous things.
Yeah.
I shouldn't play poker. I'm just not very fun to play against. I'm the kind of guy in the board game who will play not to win, but to prevent somebody else from winning.
Oh gosh. Oh, you're the worst. Oh my gosh. You're worse than my family. My family, we play board games, and my mother is the one who just like will sneak people like money or something just to
Mhm.
like make it more fair or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just it's the worst. Oh my gosh.
Board games, when you play board games, that's when you see the real deep down like human persona.
Right.
Right. That's when all the real darkness, all the shadows are revealed.
People's personalities come to light.
And they're, man, I'm just thinking of all these Shadowverse puns now. I'm gonna spare you guys.
Hey, be happy with us. We haven't made a zombie skeleton joke yet.
Oh yeah, hey, we did a good job.
And we've allotted ourselves at least one per week. That's our allowance.
Make
So
sure
it's-
to use it well.
It's still coming. Yeah, we've got one, so
Make
it's
sure
got to
to
be a
use
good
it
one.
well.
It's going to be a
Should
good
I?
one.
I think I'm gonna shirk the responsibility to you.
Okay.
You may make the zombie skeleton joke.
I
of
accept the responsibility.
The week. Thank you.
Mm,
Yes. Excited at the opportunity.
As long as we never use those voices again, I'll be a happy camper.
That probably sounded so bad. That sounds so bad. All right, so it looks like there are some technical difficulties. So we are going to go look at the bottom end of the bracket where MS Noah is going to face off against Lest.
Going to be able to watch this
Mhm.
top-notch match even sooner. I'm really
Mhm.
excited about this.
These are two champions, right? Two champions about to face off against each other. One of them's going home. One of them's going to get the opportunity to move on to attempt a second win.
Could be our first. Could be our first. Stay tuned to find out. Good chance that MS Noah is staying with the Shadow Sword deck. What do you think Lest is going to bring on top of his Shadow deck? Assuming he has a Shadow deck. What do you
I
think?
think he's going
what
to
do you
bring
think would
Haven
be best?
Blood.
Haven
That's
Blood.
what I want to see.
So, what do you want to see? What do you think is going to be able to take down MS Noah's Shadow Sword combo?
So, I mean, I kind of cheated because I already see what they're running. It's probably going to be Dragon Sword.
Okay.
I think that's, safe option. But of course, remember, Les is the one and only, the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
He is the Imperial Dragoon. He is the Imperial Dragoon.
Is the Imperial Dragoon.
That's Lest. So, Zeus, Forte, Imperial Dragoon, he's just looking to beat you up, get you to that health point where he can Imperial Dragoon you.
Ultimate
Close out the
Storm
game.
Ramp. We'll see if
He's looking to drop the mic. Oh, the on-curve Zell.
Lest,
I
he's
love
going to
it.
drop the Zell instead of the Dragon Oracle. I guess that tempo really matters to Lest. Seeing that Noah didn't have a one drop.
Works to the bone.
All right. Let's see how this plays out. I'm excited. Les did incredibly well, sporting the weekly champion flair as well. Dressed for the occasion, you could say. Oracle again. He's going to trade.
Finally a friend.
Yeah.
be on
So
5
this
play
means
points
that
next
turn
turn.
3, Catacomb, without a friend, just like I was in school.
Friend, yeah, Catacomb.
Sitting down for lunch, nobody there to sit with them.
Oh, poor guy. Yeah, without a friend, Catacomb is basically a 3-drop
Yeah.
for 2 attack and 2 defense with
Yeah.
no additional effect. It's 2 followers essentially, so you get those shadows. But other than that,
Oh my God, Les is lifting weights right now. He's pumping up.
He's getting ready, man.
He can launch Forte next turn.
The storm is coming. Launch Forte evolved, and it can't be attacked. And there's no zombie party in the hand of MS Noah.
Oh boy, is it one step too late though? He's got the. This is the knockout special here, the double Shadow Reaper. Oh my God!
Definitely
and
want
all
to get
the
one of them on
evolved
3
orbs.
defense so that Breath of the Salamander wouldn't be able to take them both out. If Lest summons the Forte and doesn't evolve it, then it's a prime target for Orthrus. We'll see if he
There's
chooses to evolve it.
Odin.
He's got Odin in his deck. He's going to evolve the Forte.
All right, it's a race, and there's not a real good way to throw your followers in, so it's going to be 5 damage, maybe evolve to make it 7 against 7. Oh my God, and the Orthrus in there. But you're right, the Orthrus can't remove it, but that's going to buff more damage for Noah. And unless there's another Storm card drawn here by Lest, I think there's a very real chance he'll fall behind.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's turn
I don't
5.
know.
It's turn 5, and Noah's only been able to get
He
one
has the
shadow.
banish from Odin.
He has the banish from Odin, but he can't even attack Forte. He can't destroy his own followers. He's not going to be able to build up the shadows he needs to really get the effect
this
from
is-
Death's Breath and Nectar.
This is such an interesting situation here.
Hmm.
Definitely not been in this scenario enough to really know what the optimal play is. But here comes. Oh! That's a lot of damage on the table.
There's a few draws that Lest has.
9
available
damage.
to him that can bring him lethal.
And the Ector on the next turn means that something significant has to happen right here. Oh god!
Oh, it's
Oh!
Dragoon.
Oh, he's 1 play point off!
Oh no. Oh no.
I think if Dragoon was played, it would be 4 discards and a 7. It would have been 11 damage, and he wouldn't be able to really close it out because he can't evolve that.
He definitely wants to save that
I think
for the
he might
final
still be dead
finishing
here in
blow.
this situation, right? Ector comes in, so that's going to be 2, 4, 6, plus 5, 11. Yeah. He needs to clear out 1 more card.
He doesn't even have enough shadows
my
built
God.
up to get the wards. He's gonna have to Sergeant and then Catacomb
Mhm.
and hope for the best, but he can't. He still can't even attack the Forte. So many
He
times we see
needs-
Forte just get taken off the board by some
He needs to ward up.
removal.
He needs to ward up. That's the only way he can survive the next turn.
If he Catacombs and then evolves, that's 3 followers, a maximum of 3 followers that will be able to be destroyed. But even if he evolves,
On turn 9,
there's only
he
2
has
defense
the-
on the Odin. He's not going to be able to build up to 6 shadows.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think Les might have.
Yeah.
He might have done it, man.
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh my gosh.
True warrior of Valhalla.
Now my question is Les gonna not? Oh, the concede.
Even if you played the Sergeant there, Sergeant's ability gaining 1 shadow, he still would have only been at 5 shadows, and
What
then
I-
he wouldn't have enough play points.
What an injury! You pump up, and the fact that Forte could not be attacked, even you desperately want to kill off your guys, right? But you
Mhm.
can't even do that, and just going for the race. Now, to be fair, I mean, it wasn't even. I guess he drew into the Odin, which was a pretty good option, but he didn't necessarily even draw into like a Sybil or anything like that,
Right.
One of the, or even like a ward to try to mitigate
And
damage.
even in the early game, he played the Zelfer Tempo when he already had Oracle in his hand. That was the most fascinating move in the game, for me.
And Les knew he was just committing to the race, and that might be
Right.
the Shadowcraft matchup knowledge. He says, "Hey,
Mm.
we gotta pump up quick. We gotta take board control early. Stay away from that turn 3 Catacomb play," which worked out real well for him.
Absolutely.
You know, and then it was just a game of inches, right? A game of inches, and Les was able to take the win.
Mother, father,
The Imperial Dragoon,
come on, let's play
Les,
together.
the Imperial
We're
Dragoon.
not
He
gonna
didn't
be
even
able to
need the
see it-
card.
We're not going to be able to see it this week. He didn't even need it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Dragoncraft deck is off for Lest.
My gosh, what a game. So Les is up 1-0 now, and Noah on the verge of being eliminated here in the round of 8.
He has to take this win with his Shadow deck if he wants to advance, wants to have a chance of advancing to the semifinals. That would bring the series 1-1. Or Lest could win this matchup and advance to the semifinals, knocking MS Noah out of the running.
All right. So there isn't a 1-drop. Gonna pass. There's a plethora of 2-drop options that could lead you into Catacomb, perhaps. And maybe this time Noah, I have no idea, but he might go for something like a zombie party. I don't know, to remove the Unico, or maybe
Right.
the Reaper. He's gonna go for the Sergeant again, and I feel like this could be a very similar situation for compared to the last game, where Les is just going to be able to run with a better opportunity here, going first. Now for Dragoncraft, the better opportunity was to wipe out the card. But in this case, it's to really add on and start putting that last word effect of summoning skeletons, right? And this is one of the reasons why people say, hey, Shadowcraft going first, that's what it's all about.
Interesting that he chose to trade the Unica into the Sergeant. He could have gone for face, and then Unica would have been able to heal, but I think he was really worried about that Catacomb coming out this turn. That's why he chose to trade the Unica, which is such a high-value card at this stage in the game, almost acting like it has ward when it heals.
Yeah, playing around that turn 3, I like that. Split them into 2, set up a situation where you have a ton on the board. Playing the Orthrus next is going to prevent that the ability to swing with damage buff, but again, he's providing such an awkward situation. Noah's having a hard time getting board control.
Absolutely.
and Catacomb is still in hand for less.
There is an Orthrus in the hand for Noah. He could clear off one of those followers, but there's a chance it's just going to land on the 1/1 skeleton. Either way, then you could still evolve Orthrus. So with that play, he'll be able to clear off 2 followers.
Let's see. 4 play points. What is the best way to spend? It's not looking good, right? A lot of momentum. You're really going to need to rely on Evolve to kind of slowly claw your way back. Zombie Party is great, but if you play Zombie Party, you're probably going to want to play another card and evolve it to try to...
Zombie's feeling hungry.
Even with the first evolve orbit, it's a real difficult position that Noah is in. He's going to be able to spin the first evolve, but he's not going to be able to completely clear off the board from Lest. And Lest has got a Catacomb of his own in his hand.
He's going to let the 3 damage skeleton stay. Goes for the Orthrus instead. And I think that's a smart choice because 2 damage is actually, in most situations against Shadowcraft early game, most only have 1 to their name, right? So that 2 health point is actually real valuable. Oh, that's a big Catacomb.
Oh, that's nasty. He's got a lot of friends. He's the popular
Yeah,
one.
that one sat down at lunch and everybody crowded around him. You know, still more people. Another one joined for lunch.
They keep coming, man.
Yeah, the instant a seat is relieved, another person comes to sit down next to the prince.
Does that count as our skeleton joke?
No, I mean, because it was skeleton
Catacomb
agnostic,
joke.
right?
It was a catacomb joke.
It was a catacomb joke.
Okay,
It was,
yeah.
And it was skeleton. Like, I mean, we didn't mention the nature of the friends, of their living status.
The zombie parties and all them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll
Yeah.
take it. And the turn
So
here-
we're looking into we're getting into 5+ play point territory, right?
Right.
Neither of them have really drawn, you know, either Thane or like Hector or anything like that.
Or Cerberus even for that matter.
That Catacomb is doing work right now.
The bones embrace me.
There's not a lot of card draw either and a lot of low-cost followers, so really getting the value out of your turn, you're having to spend more than 1 card on your turn, emptying your hand out even more.
Gonna go for the Sergeant here. Proc another skeleton. Get it out of the way. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
Get it out of the way.
There is a soul conversion in the hand of Lest. If he wants to spin that on one of the skeletons, getting more cards on his option, I think that's a great way that Les can
We'll see
really
what the top
even
deck
come
is.
out on top
Another
even more.
Catacomb.
He can Catacomb and use soul conversion as well, or Catacomb on the Chimera.
What are you
Yeah.
having
Oh my
inside?
God, so many. Oh my. That Bone Chimera is gonna spawn 3 skeletons.
If Noah takes it out first, there'll be 3 spots filled, and then those 3 skeletons, one of them will be banished.
I feel like right now the ideal card for Les to grab is actually something like a Shadow Reaper. I mean, of course, almost to be fair, you're talking about Shadowcraft. Almost any of your big hitting options are great to draw. Hector would be great too. You know, Cerberus would be pretty good too. Shadow
Pretty
Reaper
good
now
indeed.
drops.
There's plenty of tools that Lest has just waiting in the top of his deck.
Play?
Yeah, I think this is smart from Noah to evolve and try to clear off the board because he has no idea what Lest has in hand. Of course, we know, but turn 7's coming up. He has no idea what could be around the corner, and he could lose a lot of health in this turn.
But evolving and attacking with the last words, summon a skeleton,
Oh my God!
there's still 4 followers and an Orthrus as well as a soul conversion.
Question
and a soul
here.
squasher as well.
Do you clear off? Do you try to go for the gamble with the Orthros to hit the Shadow Reaper? Do you clear off one of the cards on the table and then do the 50-50?
Noah could have Hector in his hand. Les doesn't know that. He's not going to be able to clear off the Reaper because if he destroys the 2 followers, then the Reaper will have 3 health, and even then the Orthrus won't be able to take it out.
Absolutely.
He
Here
could
comes.
get rid of one of the followers and then just go 50-50.
Yep, I think
hoping that
50-50
Orthrus
is a
does it.
choice here. Interesting that he chose to throw in one without the last word effect.
Oh!
God, and he's gonna get. Oh, it didn't buff up the right one though.
Oh, that stinks. The money shot though, and he can still use Soul Squasher
Yep.
on the last base.
Amazing.
Amazing indeed.
What? Oh my gosh. Are we viewing the tilt? This is just an absolute smashing. Lest is playing out of his mind. Are we gonna get finally the enhanced zombie party?
Hey, what's so angry?
He does it.
You.
Desperately trying to gain back some kind of board control. And I actually think this is a pretty beefy turn here for Noah. Of course, he doesn't know it. Les doesn't have great options. The Cerberus is pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
And he still has one Evolve Orb as well. So that's
Uses-
6 extra damage potentially. I really do think it's worth thinking about using a Soul Conversion to try to draw more options because it's a race, right? And especially if you find yourself in a situation where Noah's going to have another zombie party, maybe he draws into something, you know, he's got 11 shadows. Both of these players are towing the line right now. So much danger around the corner. He's going to be able to board clear and leave 1-3-1 on the board for himself. There's a Soul Conversion. Triple skeletons.
Ooh, and he just
And
threw
he
a Reaper
finally
as
got
well.
the Reaper. He's going to need to sacrifice one of the cards.
Oh, there's
before
the
he can drop
Actor.
it.
And with 12 shadows to spend, that's going to fill up the board.
But what is the choice? Is it Zombie Party? It's going to be Actor.
The
He's
zombie
going to
party
have the
would
Zombie Party later.
The zombie party would have gotten rid of the Cerberus, but now he can trade the zombies into the Cerberus, one of them into the Cerberus.
Look at that board.
So much gold.
And this is off the back of Noah kind of in the race winning out, right? He drew into that big hitting option. The Shadow Reaper, I feel like for Les, came 2 turns too late. There was a real big opportunity for Les to really cash in on all those last word effects.
He was able to play that Shadow Reaper just 1 turn earlier. Oh man, there's not an option that Les drew into to really deal with this board.
Shadow Reaper down. Draws.
Oh, another Shadow
no!
Reaper. Oh.
Oh no! This is going to be incredibly tough. Oh god!
Oh no. Oh my god.
This could get out of hand real quick. Real quick.
So Les has done a good job of clearing out this board as much as he can, but there's still an Orthrus and a zombie party in the hand of Noah. He's not going to be able to target
The Orthrus.
the Reapers this turn.
You know, he could have played around the Orthrus, but he wanted to swing and reduce cards on the table. Zombie Party is going to make it a 50-50 again to hit the Shadow Reapers, but they're not even going to die. Is this it? How much damage is that on the board? I think he needs to top deck
He's
something
got 9
else.
damage. We'll see what the draw from Les is going to be if he draws an Ector. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh, the Princess.
That's not really going to help. I think he's going to need to use his Shadow Reapers to trade in.
He's going to have to do that. There's a lot of damage on the board for Noah, and not enough damage for Les to finally close out this game.
So at the most, he could get 11 damage here on his Shadow Reapers. But that's not the most efficient method to trade out the board.
There's a lot of options for Les. Trading out the board, going for face damage, trying to get the most effective clear and the most amount of face damage possible.
So he's going to be able to have one of the Shadow Reapers survive with there, and it's going to be able to buff up 1 health. Oh no, because he doesn't lose the Shadow Reaper, that's right.
He's feeling hungry.
Alright. I like the Goblin Princess just to make Orthrus targeting a little more difficult here.
Right. And even then, there's not a... The one perfect target for Orthrus is the 6/1 Shadow Reaper.
Oh god!
Not the target you wanted to hit.
Oh god!
Making the Shadow Reapers even more scary.
That's fine. He can still...
He can trade one of the zombies into the Reaper and the other zombie.
You
He can get rid of
definitely-
both of them.
Well, the problem is it's going to buff its health once you kill the...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this one's going to survive. Oh no. Okay, so Goblin King is going to come down, and that's really going to put a tempo halt on Noah. Oh, it's a Skullbeast draw!
Oh no.
But but Les should be feeling pretty good here. I think it's going to be tough for Noah to push past the Goblin King. And he's got this huge Reaper that's healed up to 7 health.
Yeah, it's important to note he's going to trade it for face, or trade it into the Lyrial Archer. Both players down to completely empty hands. Oh,
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? He's going to live for 1 extra turn.
gosh.
He doesn't want to swing into anything. Oh my god, and another Death's Breath. He could start just trading in and continuing to buff up that Shadow Reaper. There it is, and then play Death's Breath. And that Shadow Reaper is just healing. This guy is the Arnold Schwarzenegger right now of Shadow Reapers.
It's going to be absolutely massive. Noah is going to have to trade into the wards if he wants to do any damage to face.
Oh
Making the
my
Shadow Reaper even
god.
stronger.
The Shadow Reaper is out of control. He's got another Death's Breath. Is that even enough? He'll be able to survive yet another turn, I think.
Lest has 30 shadows.
What's the top deck? It's a Cerberus.
Oh my gosh.
Time to go a little wild.
I think he's going to be able to take down all 3 of the wards. And he won't be able to kill, but he can take down all 3 of the wards here.
And still
Oh
leaving
my
himself
god.
with that 11
Look
Shadow
at
Reapers.
this situation right now.
Yeah, wow.
Oh
my gosh,
God!
no way!
What?
Oh my god!
I cannot.
No way!
Grim! No! What is this game turning to? Noah! On the verge of elimination is channeling some kind of ungodly power, draws into the Grimner, and the Shadow Reaper used to trade into the wards was just at load. That guy was healing and taking damage and healing and taking damage, and all of a sudden, we're in the situation where Lest at 5 is back to the corner now.
They're so fresh.
How the tables have turned. How the tables have turned.
Oh
You,
no. Oh my gosh!
Leaving.
He's done.
MS Noah. You have the favor of the gods, my friend. What did I tell you? Oh, I'm so happy right now. Oh, I'm so happy.
It feels worse because your horse is Noah right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, that was so satisfying. As a player, as a fan of the game, seeing that perfect draw.
Oh my,
my
god. And
gosh.
he sat there and he was gonna just
He believed, man.
3 turns. You got Death's Breath, you got Death's Breath, and then he got Grimner. It's 3 turns in a row where Les was just on the verge of just like
MS Noah had
smacking
Death's
him.
Breath, and then Lest had Death's Breath, another Death's Breath from Noah, and then the Grimnir coming out on that next turn.
And it was a perfect situation too, because if the Grimner had come earlier, the Shadow Reaper may not have died, and then Les would have made a different decision where he says, "Hey, I'm not going to lower my Shadow Reaper's health anymore, right? I'm going to trade in some of the zombies to heal it up a little bit." But that risk that Les took, he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm just going to use the Shadow Reaper to swing and see what happens." And what a mistake that was! What a mistake that was! Now Noah has to win with his Swordcraft deck against Shadow.
Could be really difficult. He's going to be fighting an uphill battle.
Works us to the bone.
Sure, Sword can do really well against Shadow, but it's such a difficult matchup for both players. It's such an even matchup. Both players have wonderful tools to deal with the advantages that the other player is going to be trying to get.
We were talking a lot about in the first matchup for Blaine having that Tsubaki in hand. This time around, Noah's going to have it. And the big thing here is Noah is going first, so he's going to rush to that 6 play point value a lot quicker than if he was going second, which could change the nature of the game. Lest, on the other hand, has a bunch of good stuff. He's got Catacomb. double Shadow Reaper, Bone Chimera, Orthra, Cerberus.
And that could spell the death of Noah because Noah is going for face damage. He had the Lyrial and the Novice Trooper able to attack that turn, and he went for full face damage instead of clearing the Lyrial, giving Les the opportunity to make that great Catacomb play just then.
This could start looking real bad right now for Noah. He drew into Albert. His Floral Fencer cannot evolve. Is he going to continue swinging face? He is. He's going for it.
You know, drawing
And
that
he's
Albert, I
got
think-
Albert into Alwida's or Tsubaki with the Tag, Katana Unsheathed.
with 10 damage from
But
the
is that
Evolved
gonna be
Viking and
enough?
the Albert, it could be enough.
You
Les
could
is
straight up
already
double
at
Shadow
14
Reaper
health.
this turn and just start buffing it up. It's going to be Orthers to clear. Hits the perfect target.
Perfect target.
Evolve and throw the Catacomb in, and all of a sudden, we're going to see what Noah's commitment is like. Are you committed to swinging face? He's got more Storm.
Another Taji, yep. Evolving Albert here and going for face damage is so risky. It's so greedy because there's double Shadow Reapers in the hand of Les and 3 followers on board that are going to be able to trade into that Albert.
If Noah decides to play the 2 Unsheathed and clear the board here, that's not bad as well, but you're floating 3 play points. There's no other option in hand. He's committed. Noah's going for it. I think given the situation, this is probably the only choice you have. Alwida's is going to be a strong play just because you're going to get the ward. Tsubaki's going to be interesting, especially if you have an Evolve Ward, because you can both remove one of the Shadow Reapers and evolve it so that you can continue to gain pressure and then keep playing out your Storm options. It's not the worst situation in the world for Noah, but
with 2 Shadow Reapers and only 1 Tsubaki, and the Shadow Reapers are both getting the buzz from the 3 followers that he's already got on the field, that would be an absolutely massive power play.
Oh boy. What a tense situation Noah has put Les in. There's so many cards in hand here for Les that look great on paper, but just not the tempo. Going second, man. Just uncomfortable in terms of the pace of the game right now. He's going to use Evolve to try to take down the Albert.
And he's going to have to
And
use...
that's going to fend off the Shadow Reapers for one more turn, which, as we know, could mean, you know, Alwida's comes down here, another 3 damage, possibly 5. And the ward gets installed.
Take my blade of revenge.
Interesting.
He's going to play the Tsubaki this turn, and then Alwida's next turn, ensuring that Tsubaki has the 4 damage for this turn as well.
Yes.
So an Evolved Viking for 5 damage,
Yep.
Tsubaki for 4, that's exactly the amount of damage that Noah needs.
It's going to be tough for Noah to remove this as well. Even if he did have something like Orthrus, it's not going to hit.
And he
I
doesn't
think
have
that
Death's
was a
Breath,
nail
he
in the
only has
coffin.
4 shadows. Noah knows that with only 4 shadows, the wards are not going to be able to come out.
He's going to try.
Oh
Oh my god. 7, 9, 11. He might. I think he can do it. He actually swings through. Cerberus will be able to throw in the Mimi as well. Oh no. There it is. Oh my god. What a situation there. Noah tried to swing, and you know, we were talking about the safety, right, of playing Alwida's. Provides you that ward and you get that consistent storm damage. Noah made one extra risk there. He was just swinging face all game. He was saying, hey, I'm going to take a risk, not going to clear board, just going to swing face. Which in many ways might not even be necessarily a risk, because if you're fighting board control against Shadow, that oftentimes is a losing battle just because of Catacomb and Bone Chimera and things like that. So maybe he said, you know what, forget it. In much the same fashion that Les played against Noah, where Les said, hey, you know what, Forte and just swing face, I'm not going to fight for board control. You're going to have a tough time actually making use of your last word effects.
And he was going first. Noah felt like he had the advantage in that regard, but it wasn't enough. Les was able to take that with a Phantom Howl and a Coco and Mimi play.
Yeah. One turn away, and really that's off the back of just leaving that 3-1 skeleton on the field. That was exactly what he needed to be able to swing through and do enough damage. His reach was far enough. And, you know, Noah, one turn away, right? If he had changed the ordering of Alwida's on that turn, then he would, you know, the situation would have still been
had the ward.
unclear. You know, he would have had a ward. He would have been able to do 3 damage, maybe 5 if he chose to evolve. I don't think he would have done it, though.
Right.
And then been in a situation where he would be ceding the turn again to Les, and Les could maybe change up the kind of the direction of the game in that turn. So Noah was not willing to go down that path.
Right.
That was probably the most crazy series I've seen in all of the Shadowverse.
That series
Open.
was insane.
Hey, Noah didn't move on.
He didn't.
And, you know, I was kind of hoping that he would too, especially after that comeback. But Les is going to be the champion that gets the second shot here. Let's take a look at the bracket, and it looks like between EXG 5 Pawns and Joker 490 Frozen, Joker is going to be able to take the best of 5 Pawns with that Chun-Li skin and move on here. So it's going to be Joker 490 versus Les, and then Jay-Z versus Underwear in the semifinals. And that was an interesting quarterfinals to experience, and we're going to be heading into the latter half of the tournament soon. I don't know what to say.
It was the Grimnir draw that just made my night. Like, we could just end the tournament right there. And I'd be happy. I'd be content. I'd be totally happy. That's all I needed to see.
That's all. We're gonna go home
check
now.
that off the list, off my bucket list. But the good news is that we still have the 2 semifinals and the finals chances for even more massive plays coming out.
So, if you want to know more about the Shadowverse Open, make sure to go to shadowverse.ng.io. Get all the information on the tournaments, how to sign up, what the results are, when the broadcasts are going to happen, when the tournament's going to happen. At WatchNGE is our social media. Make sure you guys talk about whatever you guys want regarding Shadowverse or the NGE Shadowverse Open. How crazy was that last series? You can let us know there. The giveaway is available. Make sure to look for information on the Twitch panels as well. Chance to win 3,500 vials there. Craft your very own legendary. I mean, you can become the Imperial Dragoon as well. And with that, we're going to take a short little break. And when we come back, the semifinals of the Shadowverse Open. Welcome back to the NGE Shadowverse Open number 6. The quarterfinals have been insane. I think it's a good time for us to kind of take a breather, recollect ourselves, and I need help. I don't know about you, but I need help.
I had to change shirts, man. I was sweating so
I need
hard,
an
man.
adult. I'm gonna look to Envy Bear joining us again. Envy Bear, please. What has happened?
It just seems, it seems like the same thing that seems to keep dominating the West is still dominating the West, I think.
Fair to say.
That's definitely a fair point. Shadowcraft has been on an absolute tear. I'm excited to see if Les can take a second win off the back of Imperial Dragoon. I don't know. I don't think we ever really talked about Imperial Dragoon in a meaningful way, and would love to get to that in just a bit. But before we do that, let's take a look at the bracket and see what the semifinals are looking like. The first match that we're going to be able to watch is Mana Surge's Jay-Z and CK Underwear. Envy, out of curiosity, do you know where Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Underwear hails from? CK?
If I know it's Crimson Fencers. I've never heard of CK, actually. I've never heard of
CK.
either of these players, actually. So,
The Cool Kid. Cool Kid Underwear.
yeah, I'm not familiar with that team, or if it is a team, even.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a look at some of their decks and kind of look at what our semifinalists have to offer in kind of a more specific manner here. This would be Jay-Z's Swordcraft deck, and let's take a quick glance. So,
Front guard General, not a card we see very often at all.
Yeah, Front Guard General is real interesting. I think it's such a great ward card. Envy, can you tell us a little bit more about what you see here?
I think out of the 4 decks we're looking at, Front Guard General is probably the spiciest card here. I think it's the only the only thing we don't really see ever. It's a pretty popular card back in like Darkness Evolved when it was like the premium 7-drop per sword. It's kind of fallen off. I wonder. I'd be interested to find out why he's actually choosing to run it. It might be budget reasons, but I mean it's not a bad card at all.
Certainly, I think the effect of having the last word is it's different than having 2 ward cards, right? Because it's a last word that summons a ward card. So things like in much the same fashion of Catacomb, where you might want to just AoE clear everything out, that ward is going to come up after that effect rolls out. So in terms of the order of operations, I think Front Guard General is actually quite unique in that sense.
But it's not 2 separate followers that you're playing on one turn. It's one follower with the last words, like you just said. So a single target banishment, Lightning Blast, Odin is going to be able to take it off, and you won't even ever see the second follower.
The last word ever taken into effect. So interesting considerations there, and of course a 1-drop of Tsubaki. But let's move on to CK Underwear's Shadowcraft deck. Now, I don't expect anything too shocking here. The exclusion of Thane. I know that for a certain period of time, almost all the Shadowcraft decks we saw rolling up had Immortal Thane involved. But Envy, I feel like today we haven't seen Immortal Thane at all. Could you kind of agree with the kind of taking out of the boy?
I think, I mean, honestly, it seems to me that he took Thane out for that Phantom Howl. I guess he enjoys the reach of Howl a bit more. I really don't think I don't think you can shake up the core of Shadow at this, but Catacomb into Orthrus into Cerberus is what really carries these lists usually anyway.
Yes.
With Ether to finish the deck, I don't think you're gonna shake it up too bad, replacing Thane with Phantom Howl. I guess he just prefers Howl over Thane in this list.
What do you think about the fact that he's not running a Spartoy Sergeant as a 2-drop in his deck? He's got the Lyrial Archer, the Dark Conjure, choosing to go with those followers instead of the Sergeant. Do you think that's a more significant advantage that he's going to be able to take away?
Sometimes when you see like Lyrial Dark Conjurer as like the 2-drops, you can look to their 3 and spot the Rabbit Necro, and you're like, okay, Rabbit Necro, Phantom Howl, Cerberus. This guy's playing like more of the old style super aggro, but it looks like he cut the Rabbit and just kind of decided to keep with that Dark Conjurer, Phantom Howl kind of style. So obviously a little bit faster, but still kind of relies on the Death Shadow Ether if things go on too long. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to have Spartoy Sergeant. I mean, you're not going to rely on shadows, really. You're going to have 5 shadows by the time you cast Phantom Howl anyway.
True.
Prince Catacomb gives you infinite shadows almost.
You just keep summoning them skeletons. Still waiting on that joke. It's locked and loaded. Sterling,
Yeah, Les built up to 38, 40 shadows in that last game, or the second to last game. Yeah.
Hey, question for you, Envy. After watching the quarterfinals between Jay-Z, Underwear, Lest, and Joker, who do you want the most to take the tournament to win it?
I think I'd have to pick Jay-Z. His name sounds the coolest. I think.
All right.
That's just it. Yeah, that's just it for me.
That will be Envy's pick. I'm still going for Lest. I want to see the return of Imperial Dragoon. That's something that I always really enjoy. What about for you, Sterling?
I'm gonna have to say Lest. I mean, the idea of having a repeat champion completely toppling the leaderboards and taking first place, that to me, that's very exciting.
All right, so we have our choices. Envy, thank you very much for your thoughts. We'll look to dig your brain a little more when we get to the next semifinal and later on before the finals happen. Really appreciate you throwing in some insight there. Hope you've been enjoying the show. We'll reconnect with you in just a little bit. And meanwhile, for us here at the Shadowverse Open, we're waiting to get into the first match. Just waiting for Jay-Z and Underwear to start the match lobby and get it going. I feel like today has been a really interesting set of matches in terms of just so much back and forth between exactly what we talked about for the Western meta of just Shadowverse for Sword, Shadowcraft Mirrors, and then a little mix of Dragoncraft thrown in there. It's really kind of, I think, solidified in a very interesting way. I didn't think there would ever be any third deck that would rise out of the meta. I thought Dragoncraft and Shadowcraft were going to be pretty solidly what people were going to carry this whole expansion.
There were a few decks that were poking their heads out, but Swordcraft undeniably in the West has taken that third spot in the trifecta of the three ultimate decks, the three ultimate archetypes that we see.
Consistently, Swordcraft has made it far into the NGE Shadowverse Open, and let's see if that continues to be the case here for Shadowverse Open number 6. Here we go. Underwear versus Jay-Z.
The winner of this will advance to the finals of the Week 6. We'll see what the curves like are going to be for these players. Going to be an absolute determining factor in the way this game's going to go. There's 2 Catacombs in the hand of Underwear, and a Grimnir and Illyrial Archer in the hands of Jay-Z.
Underwear and Jay-Z. Oh, I think we ran away from.
Yeah.
We were.
Got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. We were just, oh man, wanted to get into that game.
We're okay.
We're okay. We're back.
We're okay. Oh man, that's great. I love it. I love it. Shadowcraft Mirror. Oh, he's got the animated Hector.
He's got the animated Hector, and neither player has a 1-drop. So a bit of an even play there. It would have been real nasty to see someone with a 1-drop and someone else without a 1-drop.
What?
All 3 Catacombs, man.
So what happens when a bunch of Catacombs sit down next to each other for lunch?
They have lunch.
They generate their own friends? They're probably just role-playing. That's what they're making up characters like,
What are you hiding
oh,
inside?
yeah, this is my character that, and they create like a whole story and, go through the experience together. That's what happens when 3 Catacombs sit next to each other.
That's the key. It's all about friendship at the end of the day. I'm going to stop talking now.
Not good. Not good.
Abort.
Embrace me.
Lyrial going to snipe it out, take down the skeleton as well. Jay-Z in a very good spot, going second as well, utilizing that evolution point advantage. Did Zombie Party on turn 3 or turn 2 into 3 to kind of prevent that Catacomb from getting the extra card with the last word effect?
Oh! Takes out the... Have we seen an unlucky Orthros drop this whole tournament? I think they've all been choice.
They've been pristine. Even trade here. And it just seems like Jay-Z is one step ahead in terms of card dropping, but Underwear is still a step ahead in terms of play point advantage. So he's going to, for example, reach Hector first, right? He hasn't hit a big Catacomb yet, so hasn't hit quite the shadows that he would need. 5 is not bad. It's not terrible. But you would like to have more.
And the thing about Cerberus, he didn't play it on his 5th turn, but on turn 6, on turn 7, Cerberus is still a viable card. You can still play Coco and Mimi on the turn, because on turn 5, all you can really do is evolve Cerberus and go for face, or go for 5 damage against another follower. and just keep Coco and Mimi in your hand. You're loading your gun, so to
Mhm.
speak. Just getting Coco and Mimi in your hand. But on turn 6, it's still a viable drop.
The fact that Cerberus has 3 health makes it a little more awkward.
It does. Yep.
The resource expenditure from Underwear is kind of tough. Do you spend that last Evolve Orb,
Right.
especially when Jay-Z has not committed himself?
Time to go a little
Looks like it might
wild.
be the choice here. Evolve Cerberus and kind of
He might evolve the
leave
beast,
your
yep.
own at 2. Okay, he did evolve the Skull Beast. So this is even more interesting now because you leave the Skull Beast at 1 health as opposed to the Cerberus at 2.
Sorry, gotta go.
And like you mentioned, Jay-Z, guns loaded. He's ready to
My boss
pop.
likes us to the bone.
He's going to
Coco
try
and
to
Mimi at any
fill up
time.
his board as much as he can.
Play?
He's going to be able to get a Shadow Reaper on his side of the field as well. Absolutely
Lyriel has been doing
nasty.
so well for Jay-Z.
Lyriel has been great. This is, of course, his 3rd one, and the Orthrus took out the other 2 all by itself.
All by its lonesome.
Deciding whether or not he wants to get Grimnir or the Reaper on his side of the field.
So 8 shadows. Ector on the table for Underwear. Ector on the table for Jay-Z as well. I imagine that both these cases, board control is not really going to be existing for either of the Ectors. I mean, maybe if the Shadow Reaper gets dropped, right?
The Reaper gets dropped. Underwear is going to have a real hard time clearing off the Reaper. Of course, it's got ambush, and then Ector is going to be able to buff up the Reaper as well, ensuring a certain amount of face damage. I love this play from Jay-Z.
Oh, boy. Either way, it's good.
No.
And you could even guarantee that you wipe out both by taking out. I mean, you can take out both either way. Right?
Finally a break. Orthrus has arrived.
Didn't have enough play points to play another follower for the Orthrus to buff.
Would have been nice to see that Catacomb coming out right after Orthrus at last. 1 play point short. But ensuring that Jay-Z cannot go for face damage this turn is crucial. Because of that, he could just play the Thane this turn. There's only a 1/2 follower. He could evolve one of the whites and trade into the Orthrus with that.
It's a very interesting situation because Jay-Z and Underwear are in this draw where they both kind of canceled out each other's options really well. They had the ideal answers each time, and so they're really kind of spending a lot of cards and not getting a lot of face damage in there at the same moment.
Not getting any face damage.
I'll show you.
And I think that's really important here because it means that as they run out of options in hand, they're going to need to rely on smart resource expenditure to push them through. This Thane seems like a very strong drop, but again, that opens up the path to perhaps Underwear to play the Ector and gain value off of the drop. Again, Ector without board control is okay, but you would really like to be able to get that 2 damage buffy swing face, right?
He's going to go for the Ector. He could effectively clear the whole board here with the Coco. The zombies can for sure take out those whites, and the Thane with a buffed up zombie is going to be able to take out the White King, or excuse me, the Thane. So we'll be putting the White King in the hands of Jay-Z. Jay-Z has more than enough shadows to really reap the benefit from that card.
So here it comes. It's time for the perhaps the Ector in response. Is there a better option here?
Does have the 0 cost
I
White
mean,
King.
you're in a situation where you can play the Ector and the King,
Yeah.
This head can't be taken.
and that added level might actually put Jay-Z ahead. We talked a little bit about White King and how we hadn't seen it, or Thane rather, and how we hadn't seen it today yet, but Jay-Z's going to throw down the card, and I think he's getting a lot of value off of it.
Absolutely. Having Bane is so crucial. Of course, having Bane against a Phantom Howl, like we see in the Hand of Underwear, it's a bit of a useless ability. Bane is when of course the ghosts only have one defense anyway. They're gonna die, and even if they don't attack, they're gonna die anyway. So definitely Phantom Howl is a perfect card to be able to get rid of that White King.
May death majestic.
Oh, interesting. He exhausted all of his shadows, and he didn't get the
What
enhanced
are you
ability
hiding inside?
from the White King.
What are you hiding inside?
That is going to be a lot of skeletons. And
But
a
this
lot
is-
of shadows going to be able to build up as well.
Yeah. I think the big thing, too, Grimnir's about to come into play on turn 10.
Yep.
And that's going to be really strong for Jay-Z, right?
Absolutely. If he can get rid of these last words abilities and just have a bunch of skeletons on Underwear's side of the field, then Grimnir is really going to be able to clean up and earn Jay-Z a massive advantage.
And, I mean, in many ways, you know Underwear doesn't have... Oh, throws away one skeleton. You know that Jay-Z doesn't, or rather Underwear doesn't have any Kokoro Mimi. You know, he only has 1 damage here at 20 health. There's no evolution orbs. How much can he really pump up? And you still have Grimnir to hit for 4 if you swing face. He's already committed to kind of clearing the board here.
Right.
Tear to shreds! Arr!
But I wonder if face was a place, so to speak.
See what this draw is here for Underwear. This is going to be the draw that absolutely decides whether or not Underwear can stay in this fight. I think it's risky. It's a bit of a slim chance, I'd say. Jay-Z has
So-
an unbelievably more powerful board. He's going to get the Death's Breath. That's great. Absolutely going to need that. But with Grimnir on turn 10, it's not really
He
going to help
needs
him.
to stay above 4, or he needs to wipe the board, right?
Right.
It's one or the other.
Mhm.
I think right now it's very important. I mean, I actually don't know. This is a very tough situation right now for Underwear.
Yeah, I don't think Underwear is going to be able to do it. He could trade into the zombies, trade into the Skull Beast, but even then, I mean, it's just not enough damage. Jay-Z was able to answer what Underwear threw at him in such great fashion.
He's going to be able to... Okay. So that means that there's going to be 4 damage left on the board, and I think he might just barely survive unless Jay-Z gets additional damage in hand.
That's going to come in absolutely crucial next turn if he wants to Grimnir this turn, clearing the board. And
Swinging
knowing that
4.
Underwear is on his last card,
Yeah, this is a really tough spot. And losing board control here is I mean, we talked about the differences between Shadow and something like Forest, where you're really, it's kind of like a gradual thing where you get board control, you maintain board control, and then you swing for the kill, right?
Right.
2 turns at most, unless your opponent is already low, there's not really an insta-kill.
oh, he drew a Grimnir of his own.
Okay. That's a pretty...
But
that's a
it's gonna
step in the
leave-
way.
It's going to leave him with 2 skeletons from the Chimera, and then Ector is going to be able to trade the
Yes.
zombie into the Ector, and then getting
Yep.
another 2 damage for face. Or excuse me, the skeletons are going to get buffed up, and that's going to end the game.
Right. There it is. We talked about how it was just, you got to set up the turn and then swing for the kill and try to maintain that board control. And in the end, the last word effect there on the last 2 units came in big for Jay-Z. Really a game of momentum, right? I think the extra addition of Thane helps so much. Getting the 0-drop follower and then being able to play that alongside Ector really helped a lot. And just the fact that he had the extra card meant he had the extra reach in terms of board control, meant he had the extra damage to throw to face, meant that the tempo of the game was always favoring Jay-Z. So I really like how that ended up playing out. I think the Thane was a great addition to his particular deck.
Definitely for a 7-drop, being able to get 3 followers on the board
You must
with a 7-drop, and also that free 0-cost card as well.
Come on.
So it's going to be Shadowcraft again for Underwear, and it's going to have to match up against Jay-Z's Swordcraft deck. The early game is not too bad for Jay-Z.
But Underwear is going first. He doesn't have a 1-drop, but he's got a few 2-drops in Orthrus as well, and there's not a really solid 1-drop for Jay-Z either. Underwear could be able to take this away if he's able to run away with his advantage.
Soul Squasher is going to be committed, and I think that's the best choice. You have 2 copies of it. Meanwhile, you can still get some value off Conjure and Luriel.
Right.
So you may as well hold it. Their stat line is all the same.
just drew into Zombie Party. He could
The
clear
one
the board.
time,
Mhm.
it feels like consistently in the series we've seen turn 3 catacombs being denied. In this situation, that was a possibility, but Underwear didn't have the catacomb in hand.
Right.
We'll see if the front guard general comes in big in this particular matchup. I
Right.
can imagine that it would be very useful if Jay-Z can make it to turn 7 and has it in hand.
Great choice there, being able to trade into the Conjurer there, making Orthrus not a great play. If the Trooper went for face, then Orthrus would have been able to do even more damage in return. Another 4 damage. And clearing out the Trooper as well. But Underwear is able to answer by getting the Reaper and the Lyrial Archer on the field.
Weapon at the ready, youngling.
And Jeno gains such great value of being able to trade into a 2-follower,
Finally a break.
forcing your opponent to trade in again and get off another follower.
So Orthrus will allow that Shadow Reaper to buff up here
Mhm.
and swing for a relatively decent amount.
Right.
Orthrus has arrived.
Others will follow.
There's still a lot of Storm on the side of Jay-Z, and he's got that double Veteran Lancer, which actually, despite the fact that Veteran Lancer only has 2 defense there, is really important just for the fact that you have to commit a card to swing at it.
Right.
You're
And
done
we see it
for.
again where Swordcraft gets a turn 5. You want to play that Albert. You want to be able to evolve, get that damage already on the board in that 5/7 follower. But there is a full board for the Shadowcraft player, forced to play more control.
This is a great turn. This is a great turn 6 for Jay-Z in many ways
Mhm.
because he can play Lancer and Geno, both gaining some control, having 2 different sources possibly, one from Geno and one from the Evolve Orb to swing for control and still maintain ward.
Mhm.
So I think it's a pretty okay turn here.
Weapon at the ready, youngling.
Hey, why so angry?
I'm gonna find another situation where possibly this Orthrus would have. Oh, that's, you know, I don't think the options are necessarily fantastic for Underwear.
Right.
The enhanced zombie party is gonna be great, but there's still one more Veteran Lancer, whole souled swing, and Grimner as well. There's lots of ward options, and we're getting into that point in time where he could have played Fangblade Slayer, or rather Front Guard General already, and he has Fangblade Slayer on the way.
Right. Next turn, the Fangblade Slayer, and he just drew into the Grimnir. And in the later stages of the game, I love that because he's going to be able to save that for the turn 10 massive damage across the board if Underwear uses his zombie party and gets a full flood of zombies.
I think Jay-Z is considering right now, does he want to put his ward up now, or does he want to go for Albert now?
I'll save you all.
He could still Albert
gonna be
to,
Albert.
to get rid of the zombie. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart choice. It's tough, especially when no Cerberus has been played to swing lethal here. And so take the opportunity to drop the Albert, and then you can do Veteran Lancer at a later time.
Right. Those 2 zombie parties getting a great effect by summoning 6 zombies in between them all. That's a lot of followers that Jay-Z is gonna have to chew through. He does have the Fangblade Slayer.
Oh, and 2 Grimners. I think Fangblade Slayer, the big thing here is, especially if Underwear doesn't draw into a big option here, the next 2 turns are going to be really tough, especially with double Grimners on the way.
Right. Any board that Underwear throws out
1, 2,
could be
3, 4,
completely mowed down by the Grimnirs, unless there's a
7.
Catacomb, for example.
9. He's got 12 damage. Or sorry, no, he's got 11 damage. It's getting real close. There still is
very close.
multiple wards available here. And the question is, do you play both the Veteran Lancer and Grimner on the next turn as your wards, or do you save the Grimner and just play the Veteran Lancer and hope that gets you by?
Right. The Lancer would mitigate 1 attack, but he's going to go for full face damage, knowing that next turn he could possibly have lethal.
That might have been a big giveaway
Giving
as
ward to
well.
all your zombies, getting massive effect from that Death's Breath.
He's going to be able to ping out the 1, and Fangblade is going to be able to clear another.
Grimnirs just came, I think, 1 turn too late.
Chew on this.
I think he might just barely survive here
Uh-huh.
if he throws down the Veteran Lancer. Because he's going to be able to
Right.
do 2-6. No, he's actually going to... He needs to put down at least 2 wards.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Oh, but if it's Grimner, right.
Right, he
the
could
3
use one
health
of the
ward.
Grimners, getting those 2 wards.
He's still going to do 2 wards just to be safe. And
Saving
I
himself,
agree.
yep.
I agree with that situation. Your Fangblade Slayer is going to give you ticking damage. Just play safe.
But
oh
the
my god,
Orthrus-
that Orthrus.
Oh no. A lucky Orthrus. If it hits the Lancer. But if it hits the Lancer, then that's one spot on your field that you're not getting a ghost. But
I don't know if that
that's a
necessarily
buffed up
changes.
zombie, yeah. And you still have an evolve point as well.
It definitely needs to hit the Lancer for maximum efficiency.
Orthrus has arrived.
He's gonna try it. No way!
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Want to play?
He's going to evolve, be able to take down the Grimner,
Yeah.
do 6, play the Phantom
If
Hound.
that hit any other follower, he wouldn't have been able to end the game right here.
The Orthrus
An exemplary
before the tournament today went to the interwebs and searched the,
Took some targeting lessons, is what Orthrus did.
MLGProSkills.exe, downloaded it, installed it.
Yeah, if someone didn't know how
Orthrus
Orthrus work
is
and they're
targeted.
tuning in, yeah, it looks like Orthrus has a targeted ability when it's a random follower.
Oh my god! The one thing it had to hit. I'm trying to think of if there's any other way. I mean, I think you could have done it if you just evolved Orthrus anyways. If you hit Grimner.
He did have... Grimnir
could
would have been 1
swing.
health, and he had 1 spare ghost.
Mhm.
So I think even if it hit Grimnir, he still
Yeah.
would have been able to win.
But basically 50-50 on that situation. It had to hit one of the wards.
Yeah.
If it didn't hit either of the wards, it
So 50-50, not bad,
yeah.
not bad. Nothing to shake your fist at.
Still,
Still.
over the course of this entire tournament, we know that stats aren't affected by previous encounters, right? But still, so many times. Arthur, so many times today, has gotten the optimal clear.
And now both players going over to their secondary decks. Underwear, Dragoncraft, Jays, Swordcraft.
I tied up now. Swordcraft has to make it happen against Dragon, and Dragon has
The sky's my
no ramp in
destination.
sight.
Yeah, no ramp in sight. It does have Clear from the Breath of the Salamander, but Ouroboros and Bahamut, not the cards you really want to draw at this stage in the game.
So I think
Also, Swing would get great value. So would the Lancer as well, but
Welcome
it all
home,
depends on how you want. I kind of agree with this because
he didn't have any commanders in hand. He didn't have Albert or the Mage.
Mhm. And then you have a solid kind of curve following your next few turns here.
Right.
And this is all kind of a race, I think, for Jay-Z.
Apologies,
He just
sir.
needs to make sure he puts down enough damage
This is God's word.
before that
No regrets.
Ouroboros Bahamut Israfil starts kicking in.
Right. Even then, Underwear has been able to mitigate a lot of the pressure coming out.
Interesting. He spends a Breath of the Salamander real early on.
And now, Jinno doesn't really have a target, and there's not a Floral Fencer in hand, so an evolve point here.
Ready,
Um,
youngling.
A bit of a tough choice. Even if he did have Floral Fencer, there's no target to attack and no target to use the rush from
Nourish
Jinno on.
water.
Civil Down is going to ramp one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jay-Z has already lost a lot of early aggression opportunity.
Yeah. Still, though, Underwear is going to be on turn 7 next turn. And it's not going to be in a place where he can play Ouroboros. He's going to have to hope for a good draw to go along with an Alia.
Decides not to evolve. I think this is a interesting situation. If you put down Luminous Mage,
Right.
the Jinno, you would like for it to swing face, but there's not going to be a good way to remove Sybil at 5 health.
And he's got the Albert as well. Could go for face for 9 damage, trade it into Sybil. There's options here for Jay-Z.
If you don't remove the Sybil, though, it'll continually start giving healing as next turn is already overflow.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's weighing his options very carefully.
Prepare for
I
battle.
actually kind of like Albert here because, again, you have Alwias, which is a two-function card to extend aggression as well as provide defensive capability for yourself.
All
High
is
value
done
card,
for
that
love.
one. He's able to hang on to the Luminous Mage
Relying on each other.
for later turns as well.
As long as we've got each other.
Technically, you would mitigate more damage by killing the Geno here,
So this is
but
the
gonna
end.
go for the Albert.
Right, because Albert was already evolved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Still, a lot of storm damage coming down the line here.
Yeah.
He's on 8 play points, so Israfil, Ouroboros, basically everything but Bahamut is activated already.
Mhm.
And once that Bahamut comes in, there's just so much removal that Underwear has.
Right.
I think Jay-Z
Jay-Z's
kind
gonna
of
have
can't
to hope
rely
he
on some
draws
of these
a-
options anymore.
He's gonna have to hope he draws a Tsubaki in that instance.
Or starts getting something like Bane. He's
Yeah.
got so many early game options here. Novice Trooper, Veteran Lancer, Whole Souled Swing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the full board from Floor Fence are not gonna help at all against Bahamut. He's gonna have to try to get as much face damage here as he can, trying to close out the game. But even then, there's plenty of healing in the hand of Underwear with Israfil and Ouroboros as well.
Another question is, where do you spend that Evolution Orb right now?
Right. You could hope
If
for
you
a Zell.
put it on the
Mhm.
Pirate, you're going to protect yourself from Israfil in many ways.
Mm.
It won't
And he
be
does.
long now.
Or, sorry, the Viking.
We live to take what we like.
And I think that's a smart option.
Mhm.
Ouroboros can still snipe out the ward and then evolve and take down another.
Mhm. But if he did that, then the evolved Novice Trooper and the attack from the Geno would be 8
Mhm.
damage. That would
I
be lethal.
think- Oh, this is such an interesting situation
Mhm.
because if he actually puts down Israfil, he's going to heal for 4, but he's going to go for
Oh,
Ouroboros.
no. This could be game.
I think that
I
might
think
be
it
it.
is, yeah.
It won't be
Oh,
long now.
no. Oh, my gosh. Jay-Z.
Right when he got into that area, I mean, I don't even know if he played Israfil, he would have healed 4, so that would have
Mhm.
put him up to 11.
Right,
Right.
right.
And then Israfil would have had to evolve and can only take down 1, so
Only
I
took
think
down
he
the
would
ward,
still
so he still would have.
he still would have died. That was it, really. Jay-Z just right when he got into that area. That Albert evolve was such an important decision there.
Yeah, very
And the
crucial.
evolve on the Viking as well was very smart. His exact expenditure of resources there for Jay-Z. Really good read of the situation, and I think he definitely made the right choice. Very unfortunate for Dragoncraft that he didn't have any of his pump options early on. Had to play on curve, basically, on normal turns. And
Yeah.
it really hurts when you have Dragoncraft in that area. Still incredibly close. I mean, we were just on the verge of Dragoncraft dropping some big cards there.
And Jay-Z was able to make those decisions, evolving the Albert, keeping the Geno on the field that ensure that he advanced to the finals here.
Also interesting that when he played the Sybil, chose not to evolve it and swing to get rid of Geno there.
That's right.
Wanted to kind of lean on having that Sybil survive and make it very awkward to remove. And
Mhm.
I think because of that, took 4 damage to the face, and that was enough pressure, right? If you add 4 health onto Underwear's health pool, and you add the other 4 from Israfil, he probably could have avoided lethal.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
But wow. So it looks like Jay-Z is going to move on to the finals here, and he's looking really strong. Let's take a look at the bracket. Jay-Z versus Underwear. It's going to be a 2-1 victory, and Jay-Z's going to have 2 matches on, putting him in the finals, ready to take a first-place finish for Mana Surge. Meanwhile, on the bottom end of the bracket, it's going to be Joker 490 Frozen that has been able to eliminate EXG's 5 pawns, and of course the other representative from Mana Surge, Noah, was eliminated by Les, so we still have a match to look forward to.
Lest, of course, is a tournament champion. We'll see if this newcomer, Joker 490 Frozen, is able to stand up against the Imperial Dragoon himself.
What an interesting match there. I think we saw just in the previous segment, we just saw exactly how Swordcraft can get away with that Dragoncraft matchup. And I'd be super interested to look at the stats after the tournament to see how that goes. of course, in this particular match here, Joker versus Les, I don't think we actually got to see the deck list that Joker was bringing fully. I believe one of his decks has to be Swordcraft because he was playing the Chun-Li character, right?
Yes,
So it's
correct.
probably going to be Sword Shadow. But again, Les was able to beat Sword Shadow with his Dragon Shadow list combo. So
Right.
there's definitely a way forward here for Les. And of course, for Joker as well, there's definitely a way forward. It just depends on how that ends up playing out. I think with Envy joining us here, we should go in and take a look at some of the decks that these players are playing here, and kind of see how we feel. We're gonna see Joker's Dragoncraft list, and Envy, thanks for joining us again. I think the semifinals there on the upper end of the bracket was kind of an interesting outcome. Mana Surge is going to move on. How do you feel about kind of this particular semifinals that we're going to be jumping into now?
It's interesting. If I heard you correctly, I think you just said that Joker's not playing Shadow.
Okay, wait. If we actually, that's interesting. If this is Joker's Dragoncraft deck, by law of elimination, right? We saw him play Sword because we didn't actually get
Right.
to see Joker play in the quarterfinals due
Right.
to technical difficulties.
But we saw a
So
Sword deck.
you're right, Envy. I think he's playing Dragon Sword.
Wow. Okay. I mean, the first person to not, the first person I've seen today to not have Shadow.
Yeah.
I swear, I want Joker to win. I switch completely.
He switched
Just-
complete. Look, he's playing
He's
Wrath
not playing
Drake.
Shadow. I don't know. I gotta root for him.
He's
3
foregone,
copies of the Wrath Drake.
and he's foregone Sahak Wheel. You know, there's no Sahak Wheel. There still is Zell. He's going Wrath Drake, and he's got Genesis Dragon, Zeus, as 10 drops there. What do you make of this particular Dragoncraft deck?
The Wrath Drake I think is the most flavorful pick here. It's really cool in Take 2 as like an anti-shadow, anti-sword card. It can kill like the second wave of Catacomb stuff when it's not enhanced. It hits for 1 on everything, and then once it's enhanced, it like dumpties the board, 3 damage to everything, without hitting itself, which is like really powerful. I think actually
Dumpties
against
the
those
board.
2 factions. So it's a pretty cool card to see 3 of in there. I think that's pretty neat.
Definitely, it really does feel like Joker is trying to push away from the meta. Let's quickly jump over and take a look at Les' Shadowcraft deck, and I think we've talked a lot about Shadowcraft already, and I definitely agree with you. There's not really much you can do to wiggle out of Shadowcraft's core cards here, but just trying to think about how Wrathdrake will interact with this particular deck list. Is there anything here that Les has that could possibly handle that situation in a clean fashion?
I mean, looking at the sort of different stuff, he's got like a 1 of Unica, like a 1 of Spartoli, and a 1 of Goblin Princess, but those cards aren't that really weird, I guess, to see in Shadow, and they're not exactly like amazing anti-dragon cards. Shadow is like good anti-dragon already though, so he should be kind of okay. I think honestly those Wrath Drakes might end up coming in huge.
Definitely seems, as you mentioned, the most flavorful of the bunch, and maybe very intentional on Joker's part, just because he knows that he's going to face so many Shadowcraft decks today, and maybe that's a part of the reason why he's made it so far. I unfortunately, we didn't really get to see the matches. Envy, I wonder, I'm curious what you thought about the matches so far here, especially between Jay-Z and Underwear, kind of how they played out. Swordcraft against Dragoncraft. Talk to me a little bit about how you feel that matchup goes.
Usually Sword can kind of keep Dragon back the whole game until Dragon hits 10 mana, and then it just kind of swings back over to Dragon. Sybil is an incredible card in that matchup, obviously, and if Dragon ever gets to Sockwheel into Israfil, you probably lost your entire board to it. So
Israfil seems like a really strong card to have with its kind of mass clear effect there.
Right.
Jay-Z was able to squeeze right by with good decisions on his Evolve. Obviously, in this match between Joker and Les,
He doesn't have Sahak Wheel.
Yeah, he doesn't have Sahak Wheel. If the Dragoncraft deck loses against Shadowcraft, rather, Les is going to be bringing Dragon Shadow himself, right? So it's going to be either a mirror match or the Shadowcraft matchup here. But for Les himself, he might have to play that Dragon Sword matchup again. I would like to know what the statistics are. Do you have any off the top of your head, Envy, from other tournaments, how you see this kind of these decks face off against each other?
I record the EXG tournaments, and from what I remember, the past 3 or so of them, I think there was one like oddball where for some reason Sword did well against Dragon, but for the most part, Dragon does really well against Sword.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense because we just barely saw Sword eke out the win one turn behind or one turn ahead when Dragon had no ramp at all. So Les versus Joker, the decision has changed. Envy's for Joker now. You heard it here first. So Envy, thanks very much. We'll bring you on right before the finals for one last time in NGE Shadowverse Open number 6. It's been crazy, a lot of crazy games here, but we're going to be jumping into Joker versus Les now.
Yep. And on one hand, we have the player who's not using Shadow, who's really taking a risk, I'd say. And on the other side, we have our previous week champion, previous week finalist. So we'll see how these two players can stack up against each other in this matchup.
Let's begin.
All right. Oh my God, he gets it on every mulligan. I feel like
Every time, yeah, we've seen it so much. Haven't seen it played today, but we've seen it in his hand a few times.
Yeah. And there it is. Now we finally get to see Chun-Li. We got all hyped about it at first, and then it kind of we were devoid of the opportunity. But now
We were robbed.
robbed.
There's a Lancer coming out on the first turn for Joker.
So he's got some tools here in the early game with the Novice Trooper.
Yeah, there's not really a solid answer that Lest has to deal with that. He doesn't have Blazing Breath. He doesn't have Breath of the Salamander. The only 3-drop he has in his hand right now is the Goblin Mage.
Some interesting things to note here. Les does not have Ramp, does not have Forte. Instead is kind of ward heavy on Rahab. The Goblin Mage is probably going to draw Zell. Yep.
Right.
And so he is going to have a late game Zell option, but then he has 3 of his 10 cost drops. It's kind of an awkward. Les won't be able to be as aggressive as he was when we saw him in the round of 8.
Frozen with 2 troopers, being able to get a massive amount of face damage this early in the game.
Lots of removal here, few followers in Les' hand, and one of his followers is going to not be relevant for a while.
Right.
And I wonder if that's going to change things. In fact, the board clear has come down here.
Yeah, Lest has drawn Bahamut, Zeus, and the Genesis Dragon. Come turn 10, he's going to have pretty much all the options he needs, all the turn 10 options he needs to deal with Joker. And it looks like, with the Floral Fencer evolved.
Could Floral evolve, he could Whole Souled evolve,
Yeah.
he could Geno evolve.
I won't let up on you.
Yeah, the Floral Fencer would not have had enough attack damage to take off the Rahab, but it wouldn't have died itself. They both would have been standing with 4 attack, 1 defense.
Ala, this is the first opportunity really for Les to ramp, but so far, I mean, it seems like Joker has been more than willing to just go face. And in fact, any kind of Storm card here for Joker is going to be the biggest boon he can have.
Right.
Ugh,
As you say, the Storm card, Taji,
yeah.
the 1/1/1.
He would have really preferred something like Albert or Oidas.
Yeah, especially on turn 6. No doubt. Ooh, the Scyther. Absolutely great getting to
In
deal
overflow as well, so it's going to have that Storm.
Yeah.
He's actually going to commit it.
Interesting to summon it this turn. If he trades in, he's going to be left alive with 1 health.
I think Les has identified that he really wants absolutely to survive the turn 10.
Yeah, he does not
And we talked about how dangerous this matchup is once Dragoncraft gets to that point. And I think Les has identified, spend the resources, get there, and then we'll worry about it then.
Right.
But there's still a lot of great options in hand here for Joker. He still has Fangblade as well on next turn, and that's really going to, I mean, until turn 10, ball is still in Joker's court.
Right. And I love to see the circle that we have between Ouroboros and Fangblade Slayer, the kind of stalemate that players reach. Fangblade dealing 3 damage to face, killing the Ouroboros. Ouroboros kills the Fangblade, and then you just heal back up to where you were initially.
I still think Joker needs to draw into a really great option, like maybe an Albert or something. He has 1 more turn to do so.
Right.
Because he's only going to hold Les at 11 health.
He's been on turn 8 now for just a little while, and he still hasn't drawn Albert at any stage of the game until now.
I almost wonder if there's a world where if Les draws, he's got 4 10-drop cards here. And certainly once it hits that point, it's going to be really tough to deal with.
He's still going to have the Ouroboros next turn.
Gonna probably play Ouroboros again.
Yep.
And I think this is...
This can be absolutely
Yeah.
game-ending for Frozen if he cannot draw a
He
solid
needs an
answer
option
this
now.
turn.
Oh, that hurts.
Without an Evolve Orb, his only option is to summon the Luminous Mage, evolve, and attack the Ouroboros. But then he's just healing again, and then Lest is going to be able to summon Bahamut, Zeus, Genesis Dragon.
I mean,
Any
based on
option
the
he
options,
needs.
Les might actually just win by just dropping Genesis Dragon Swinging Face, dropping Genesis Dragon Swinging Face. Just because of threat of lethal if Joker doesn't clear.
Right.
He's lost his moment of opportunity.
I really like the choice to play Zeus on the next turn as well. It can be so difficult for Swordcraft to deal with unless you have a Tsubaki. That Bane is absolutely nasty.
And he's going to leave the Ouroboros on the table here. Which means that he has 15 damage ready to go with Genesis Dragon.
Right.
Or he could just swing with Ouroboros and drop Bahamut, heal up,
Right.
clear
Yeah,
the
if he
board.
played Genesis Dragon, went for face, and then Frozen draws Albert on the next turn,
It's risky.
it's risky.
Very risky.
I mean,
so I
it's a-
think
it's a
Bahamut is the right choice here.
There's 28 cards left in the deck for Joker. 3 of them are Albert.
I definitely think
Yeah, I think Bahamut attacking for face with Ouroboros, healing by destroying Ouroboros with Bahamut. I think that's a stellar.
there it is.
I won't lose again.
What a turn.
Mm.
And that is
3 instances of Joker drawing Taji at those high stages, at those high play points.
really, I mean, there was a lot of pressure coming out early from Joker with the Novice Troopers. Would have much preferred to have those Katana Unsheathed early on. Maybe even on turn 1, right? Turn 1, turn 2, and then you start playing Novice Troopers to keep swinging. The strategy was there to swing for face, but just not enough to kind of tide himself over. Once the Ouroboros started coming down, it really caused a lot of problems. And we talked about how that reach is so just barely, even if the Dragon didn't have any ramp. In this case, the options were there for less, so he's going to move on, or rather his Dragoncraft deck is going to move on. Now he's going to rely on the Shadowcraft deck. I have to wonder if the Swordcraft deck will be pulled out again here by Joker.
We'll see. He could choose
I think
to stay with
it
the
has to be.
Swordcraft.
That's the only thing that would make sense. No, he's going to play his Dragoncraft deck, and he's using Ryu.
Father, come on.
I would imagine, and maybe you want to try to get a consistent matchup. We talked about the Wrath Drake a little bit and how possibly valuable it could be against his Shadowcraft matchup, so maybe he just at least wants to maintain some kind of footing in this match before dealing with Swordcraft or Shadowcraft.
He does have Blazing Breath and Zell, so he's got some early tempo, some early control to try to mitigate a lot of the advantages that Shadowcraft needs to have at the early stages of the game. But there's not even a 1-drop, and he did come into two drops as well this turn with the Lyriel and the Reaper.
The sky's my destination.
Zell dropping.
My boss works us to the bone.
Even then, Joker is going to be able to get rid of that follower this turn and go for face, as well as summoning another follower, summoning another Zell if he wants to do that, just to get even more pressure on the board this
And
early
he
in the
does.
game.
You're mean.
He does.
And now Shadowcraft, the early aggressor, is on the back foot in this matchup.
Has to play just the Catacomb or maybe the Shadow Reaper, but that means that you're going to guaranteed take 4 more damage, which...
And without...
Oh, and the Wrath
does
Drake
have
in hand
Raha,
as well.
And these Zells could completely clear the board and still stay alive with 1 health as well.
So many good options.
he's gonna keep
you
the
have
one
the
skeleton
Sybil
on.
or the Wrath Drake on next turn.
Yeah, Joker left the skeleton alive, knowing that Wrath Drake could be coming out. Oh, but even if it does, that That Reaper's going to be on 2 health. He's going to have to trade one of the Zells in.
I have no regrets.
He's going to pass it over. And again, we see a situation where here comes Sybil. So much damage.
You're mean.
Yeah, what a massive amount of pressure that Joker was able to put out in the mulligan. He kept Death's Breath, and he got Zell as well. And there wasn't those early options for Lest in his hand as well.
Right, the Blazing Breath was really key there.
Yeah, and Joker, seeing the advantage that he has, was able to take it and run away with it in this game.
Now he's going to swing the Princess in, and the last Radiant Effect, he's not really concerned with losing that card as well.
Even if he did lose it, the Reaper would have gotten stronger as well. But alas, he has to trade the Reaper into the Zell. He knows that he's bleeding out. He has to mitigate as much damage as he can. One more turn until the Wrath Drake has its enhanced ability. Wrath of the Salamander would clear the board and put the Goblin King in the hand of Lest, and then he'd be able to go for face damage with the Sybil as well if he wanted to evolve it. Get another 6 damage to face, putting Lest at 6 health. I think that's what he's going to do. He might not evolve the Sybil, but even then, if he puts Lest at 6 health, and he's got Ouroboros next turn, that's going to be another 3 damage as well, and healing that he's going to be able to get. This is massive for Joker.
Such a fast-paced Dragoncraft deck. And it seems to be playing exactly how Joker wanted it to.
Revenge!
There's a Goblin King just trying to stop some of that pressure. We'll be able to take down the Sybil and leave it at 1 health.
All must come to an end.
Now with the Ouroboros, use its ability on the Goblin King or go for face damage as well this turn. He's gonna go for the Goblin
King, and I think that's smart. 7 damage is nothing to laugh at.
Right. And there is a Death's Breath in the hand of Lest. So the wards will help keep him alive, but the Wrath Drake in his hand as well. He's going to be able to clear off that board. But the Ouroboros going as if Lest didn't evolve that, he would have lost the game.
Yeah. He needed to spend the resource.
Yep.
And there's so much overhealing as well. Joker has not taken any kind of pressure. Lest has just constantly been trying to find some kind of footing.
No, he could summon Ouroboros again just for another 3 damage to face. And then kill it off the next turn. I think he's deciding whether or not he wants to do that or go for board clear. He's going to go for the Ouroboros instead of the Wrath Drake.
Fight with all I've got.
He's going to remove one of the wards too. There's so many different avenues that Joker can approach to kind of closing out the match here.
Yeah, so Lest can't attack the Ouroboros. He can't destroy it. Otherwise, next turn, the Ouroboros is just going to end the game.
But that means that he needs... I mean, it's just a tough spot, right? Because you need to make sure your wards survive. You also need to make sure the Ouroboros can't kill itself. And the Wrath Drake is still sitting there.
The Wrath Drake is going to be able to clear the board off entirely. Even then, he just drew into a Lightning Blast. That is absolutely massive. That's going to be game for Joker being able to close out this series 1-1.
His incredible aggression. And Lest, I think, struggled for options in that game. Just the fact that he wasn't able to catch on the early game meant that he had no opportunity to play the Catacomb as well. Its effect just wasn't really strong enough to justify the turn that it would spend.
Yeah, he was forced to play the Catacomb on turn 3 all by itself.
And then he couldn't even play his second Catacomb at any point in time.
Yeah.
It was just too far behind at that point. There were so many big followers dropping on the side of Joker's board that that Catacomb would do absolutely nothing. And there was still the Wrath Drake there, right? The whole time the Wrath Drake was ready to just clean up that situation.
Just waiting for the opportune moment to play and get its maximum effect, which it absolutely did, earning Joker the victory, bringing this series 1-1. The winner of this goes to the finals.
So the situation here is Joker is back to kind of his fear, right? He avoided this matchup through his Dragoncraft deck first and saved his Swordcraft deck for second. So unless his Swordcraft deck has a good matchup against Shadow, it's still tough. It's still tough for Joker. He still has to climb out of this situation.
Oh, and there is a 1-drop from Lest. I love this. This is the absolutely perfect curve for Shadowcraft. Because we've seen how nasty the Skull Beast, Sergeant, Catacomb combo can be. And he has a Lyrial Archer for the turn 4 evolve, if he wants to use that on top of a Phantom Howl as well.
Cold Sword Swing is going to be the option for Joker.
Clearing off the board, but there is still a near perfect hand for Lest that he's going to deal with, and it could be too much for Joker to handle. See what Joker's option is. He could play Grimnir, getting that ward, which could be an absolute bear for Lest to have to clear through. Yeah, really thinking about his options here. He's gonna get the Trooper, going for face damage if he wants to, or even clearing off one of the Sergeants as well.
I feel like it's such a tough choice. Traditionally, I think before turn 3, you kind of deny the Catacomb play, and then afterwards, it seems all about aggression.
What are you hiding inside?
And there, it's going to be Catacomb again, just all by its lonesome.
Yep, definitely choosing to force Lest to play the Catacomb on turn 3 all by itself again. Really great choices from Joker. You can tell he knows this Shadow deck inside and out. He's gotten this far, undoubtedly playing against Shadow decks, and he knows how to defeat them. He knows how to cut them off and starve them from getting the resources and the advantages that they need.
It's interesting here for Joker. He's got to think about how he most efficiently wants to play out his hand. Not the best turn 4 options.
Yeah, really would have hoped for a Jinno on turn 4. Going first, it's definitely the card that you want to have in your hand for sure.
One on the board, but again, we see no Orthrus here for less, and still just not the ideal situation. He has the opportunity to play the Shadow Reaper and then have Lyrial come in as well to kind of set up a situation where the Shadow Reaper can start getting buff.
Yeah, Lest has got plenty of options here. I think Lyrial Archer is such a great play here, especially being only 2 cost, and you can still summon the Shadow Reaper as well. Getting that on the field, and with 2 followers.
You can definitely set up a good trade where you buff the Shadow Reaper and take down the Veteran Lancer, maintain the health of the Lyrial Archer, and have it be 4 damage pending.
Yeah, certainly forcing an evolve point from Joker. But when you force an evolve point, you run the risk that if they have Luminous Mage in their hand, then that's a free evolve point that they've got. Which, of course, Lest doesn't know this, but Joker does have Luminous Mage in his hand.
There it is. I think that's going to be the play that Lest goes for. No, he's going to ping, then swing Lyrial into the Veteran Lancer there. And maximize face damage out of that situation. Leave the Shadow Reaper to buff up on the next turn.
Yeah. And now Joker's in a position where he has to clear out the Lyrial Archer. He could leave the Skeleton, but, I mean, when you destroy it, of course, it just buffs up the Reaper even more.
My sword brings hope. I won't
Gonna
laugh on you.
go for the Luminous Knight, and I like this choice.
Paladins, attack! Finally a break.
Reaper gets pumped.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice. The Mage would have stayed alive, but the Knight leaves the Mage on your side of the field with 3 health.
Want to play?
But this
I
Evolved
think
Catacomb is going
it's
to be able to trade into
really-
that beautifully.
Yeah, I think it's really just Joker forcing that Evolve Orb to be spent to take down the Luminous Mage, or at least spending a lot of resources on Lest's side to deal with it.
Right.
Just because you don't want that Luminous Mage to survive an extra turn, right?
There's a Floral Fencer and a Maid Leader, so he's got pretty decent 6-turn play in his hand right now. But there's 3 followers with Catacomb's ability on the field for Lest.
He is ironclad.
Going to be able to take down the Shadow Reaper, and I mean, not the biggest Shadow Reaper that was played, right?
No,
I think
no.
that Joker got out of that situation pretty okay. And now he's going into the later turns with 2 Alberts ready to go. He's still got the Mage to kind of provide him extended use of evolution orbs. And he's got Grimner for the very late situation, and we can see how effective Grimner can be against Shadowcraft.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
Going first as well. He's going to lead with the first Grimner drop.
See if the game even gets to that stage. It looks like this is going to be a bit of a drawn-out game. Both players really choosing to go for control.
That's true. So far, we haven't seen any kind of Cerberus or Ector. I mean, Phantom Howl is there. And we've seen so many times how Phantom Howl can actually reach 11. I think we saw a 12 damage one today.
Say bye-bye to your life.
Evolve on the Soul Squasher. Start trying to grab board clear here. And Shadow is starting to get kind of big. 4 followers ready to go. Got 3 damage, 4 damage, and 2 damage.
That is one massive board, and there's not a single target for Tsubaki, the card that he just drew. He's going to have to... Oh,
Awkward
man.
spot. You don't have
Really
any play
difficult
points, so
turn,
you
yeah.
really can only drop 1 card here. And this might be the nail in the coffin situation.
And you can't even go for face damage with an evolved Albert.
Yeah, and you have to remove the Grimner just because of the ward, meaning that you're going to be taking 8 damage at least, plus 2 because of the Phantom Howl.
My sword brings
If
hope.
Cerberus gets dropped, it might be over.
If Cerberus or Ector comes into his hand,
Paladins, attack!
this game could be over. You're right. We'll see what this draw is going to be for Lest.
And it's tough too because you're not quite at Albert enhanced.
Another Catacomb. What a massive board that Lest has had throughout the whole stage of this mid-game.
Going for face here as well is going to set up a good situation for Phantom Howl. So now you're opening up 2 options of victory for Les. He can either go for Phantom Howl or he has Ector or Cerberus. You know,
He's still got the options he needs just waiting in his deck.
I really like how there's a Death's Breath waiting there.
What are you hiding inside?
Oh man, I don't think Joker's going to be able to deal with this. He's got the 1 ward, but all the followers on Lest's side of the field are going to be summoning skeletons. And there's 4 of them, and Joker has 4 health.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a way that Joker is going to be able to come out of this.
even if he were to play the ward, he could throw everything to clear it and then play the Phantom Howl. Unless he plays a ward and evolves a ward, maybe, because Albert will remove 1, Luminous Mage will remove another, then Grimner comes in and evolve, you give him 5 health. Yeah, even if you swing with all your 1/1 tokens, you'll be able to take down the 5 health Grimner.
With
And then Phantom Howl.
Yeah.
So I think that there's not a way for him to live, no matter how much you clear of this board. But that's probably going to be the play here for Joker anyways.
Yeah, Joker doesn't know that Lest has Phantom Howl in his hand. It could be anything, but with this Shadow deck, there's so many options that Lest could have in his hand to close out this game. The pressure that Lest was able to put on from the beginning was absolutely crucial. Because Lest has been sitting at 19 health and been chipping away at Joker's health this whole time.
Yeah.
I am the Mad
Joker's going to
Cyclone.
play the Grimner, evolve and in turn.
Let up on you.
Ah, my power is uncontrollable.
Oh, and he is actually going to
Embrace
swing.
me.
Summons the last skeleton, but I think... Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Lest is going to move on. Make
Lest
it
is
to
gonna
the
move
finals.
on and make it to the finals.
For the 2nd time in a row, he's the closest it's ever been. Making the 2nd win here.
Noah has come very close to winning 2 times. Again, we'll see if Lest is able to close it out.
That's good kung fu.
That's good kung fu. Oh man, and Joker, hey, his Dragoncraft deck was incredibly high performing. I have to wonder, I mean, Swordcraft, we've seen that deck played again and again. Didn't seem like Front Guard General, for example, was looking like a very good card in that situation. If he
Yeah,
had that ready
absolutely.
to go, that would have been really useful. Just ward cards in general, it doesn't seem like the Storm can catch up quite well enough in the aggression consistently enough to fight off these particular decks. let's take a look at the bracket to see how the finals is looking for NGE Shadowverse Open. Week 6, Mana Surge's Jay-Z will be up against Lest for the finals. They've chewed through a huge bracket, single elimination all the way through the finals event. Now the last two here are facing off against each other. It's going to be Swordcraft Shadowcraft versus Dragoncraft Shadowcraft, the classic of the Western world, I feel.
Absolutely. Versus the Imperial Dragoon himself.
Absolutely. Before we jump into the finals, there's a few things that I would like to tell you guys. First of all, go to shadowverse.ng.io and you can figure out all the things like broadcast schedule and tournament start times and how to register and who the winners are. Make sure you go to @WatchNGE. That'll give you all the information that you would ever want to know from social media. Us talking about the NGE Shadowverse Open, about random things. You can talk to us. We'll talk back. And then, of course, make sure you check the Twitch panels and enter the giveaway. Win 3,500 files here. Very easy. Just go ahead and do it and earn your potential spot at winning a legendary card of your own.
So wow, that was
we
weird.
have something special. We
We
have
have
something very special. What
Very
do we have,
special.
Stu?
We have a great finals ahead of us. And I'm curious to know, now that we've seen the round of 8 and we've also seen the semifinals, what is your prediction? What is your official prediction? You were kind of evading me a little bit earlier. That's fine. You're
Lest
saying
2-1.
Lest. All
Lest
right.
2-1.
All right, all
With
right.
the Imperial Dragon killing blow.
That you're calling it? I want to see that so bad. We
Yeah.
saw it. We saw it a few weeks ago. Oh, and it's so
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah. Let's 2-1 with the Imperial Dragon killing blow. So that's my prediction. We have Envy back on the line. And before, so Envy, we talked a little bit in the pre-show. Sterling and I actually, you know, the divine beings up there heard us. And we were actually given some of the physical card packs that will be featured at MomoCon that you can get. So we've been given permission to open 2 of them right here on broadcast.
No
and
kidding.
Envy, you can be here for the special occasion.
You go first. You go first.
I go first?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish we could actually have Envy here to show. It would be
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
can't
good
see.
luck.
She can't see anything. She's seeing with her spirit eyes. That's
Okay,
it.
Yeah, with
Envy.
my spirit eyes.
Here, just to give you some information.
Okay.
These are the cards. It says on the back, cards in this series include. I love this packaging, by the way. It's so minimal. But these are the cards that we can get, Envy. We can get Zeus. We can get Ouroboros. We can get Elf Queen. Demon Lord Ector. Oh my god,
No
we can
way.
get Ector. We can get Gawain of the Round Table, Belphegor, Word Wielder Ginger, or Dark Jean.
What a tongue twister that one is. Word wielder ginger.
Which one?
I
Which one?
think Ouroboros is probably the. Have you seen Ouroboros' art? Have you like looked
Uh-huh.
at it like really hardcore? It is insanely detailed.
Hmm.
I think he'd probably be the best one to have IRL.
Every time I see Ouroboros, it's all very blurry because of the tears in my eyes. So I haven't been able to see the art very well.
Rainey, you and I are going to be able to play a physical game with
Okay.
our 4 cards
So
that we have.
Envy is hoping that we get Ouroboros here. I'm
Okay.
going to open my 2 packs first.
Okay.
I'm going to open them. Please don't tear the card. Please.
Hope to
Okay.
God that you don't tear the cards.
I'm really bad at opening stuff. Oh my god!
No way, is it Ouroboros?
It's Ouroboros!
No way.
It's all like holographic and shiny.
Oh, that's
There-
so
it's
cool.
we can't change the focus here, but there's Ouroboros. It's gonna be a little blurry for you guys. Apologies for that. 8 play points for 8-4, and this dude just comes back. Oh, my
look at
god, the
back.
card
That's
back is
so
sick.
Intricate. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so cool.
Envy,
Okay,
you're a god.
I gotta go.
You're gonna go?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm not leaving, but I'm going to open my pack.
Uh-huh. Okay. Show me what you get.
He's gonna get Zeus.
He's gonna get. Oh, Envy called it. Is it
Yeah,
Zeus?
he's gonna get Zeus.
Oh, it's Word Wielder. Okay, Zeus was
Oh,
for
no,
me.
Ginger.
You
I got the ginger. Yep.
you got you
You're
got
gonna,
the ginger.
You're gonna have the Zeus.
Wait, let me see that art. I've not. Oh, that's awesome. Hey,
Very
you know
nice,
what would
yeah.
be really cool if you open one of these cards and it was actually the evolved art as well?
Oh,
Like there's some rare
nice.
cards that you
A
can
pack
get that's
comes
evolved.
with 2 cards. Let's
Okay,
see.
this one's gonna be Zeus though, because this was
I
the
thought the
natural
drop
order.
rate for Zeus would be like higher, right? I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe. Like I think that would make sense. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You're right. See, Envy always thinks a step ahead. I'm just an idiot sitting here just. We've got cards to open.
It's like Christmas morning.
All right, this is my
Careful.
last pack that I can open. I'm having trouble.
Careful, Arthur.
I'm having trouble.
Careful.
Wait, I need to do this off camera because I'm really bad at this. It's very embarrassing.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna open my pack before you even come back.
Yeah. No. No. I've got it. It's okay. The situation is under control. You got like a nice little. Okay. I've just.
We have the same packs. Just it's already open. Just pull it out.
No.
Okay.
Can't. All right.
All right. What is it?
All right.
What is it?
I'm gonna show it to the stream first.
Okay.
What is it?
Ooh, nice one.
What is it?
Not
It's
bad.
Belphegor.
Belphegor.
Hey, we were all getting super hyped about Bloodcraft.
Yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, it wasn't Zeus. So Envy's ability is
we
on
still
cooldown.
have one more chance for Zeus. We'll see what.
It works once a day. I'm sorry.
It was once a day. It was once a day.
See what the card is going to be showing it to stream for the first time. It got stuck.
It got stuck.
Oh my gosh!
It's
Zeus!
Oh
No
my
way!
god!
Oh, so
I
great.
feel like I'm in a magic show and Envy's just
Hey.
Envy's just tricking us. Got 2 of the 4.
Those are so nice.
Ouroboros. Belphegor. Very cool.
Got a nice close up of my dirty fingernails. Just cause.
I can't
But-
believe you're even touching those cards.
I know. I'm just. I feel so
You guys
bad.
are gonna sleeve those, right? Like immediately, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
we have
I'm
some
pretty sure
sleeves,
we
yeah.
have some like
Absolutely.
real nearby. So help!
Good.
Sleeve them.
Nice.
Man, I can't wait. Envy, I can't wait.
So great.
I'm gonna pocket some of these packs and bring them directly to you.
Oh my gosh! Don't get in trouble.
Hey, nobody's watching us. Nobody knows.
They
This is
just
definitely
heard
not on record.
Yeah, there's gonna be
Yeah, it's not
there's gonna be a
broadcasted,
black
right?
market for these cards. I'm
A
imagining.
black market?
People trading in dark alleys. Oh my gosh, brings me back to middle school, man. Trading cards.
That was actually incredibly fun. The packs look so great, and it's just such a joy to actually be able to hold on
Opening
to the cards.
packs. Yeah.
But that was a great aside. Very fun. Can't wait to see you guys at MobileCon. Can't wait to see Envy at MobileCon, and we can have a ton of fun. Just come to the booth, hang out with us. We'll open a pack of cards with you.
Yeah, totally.
But we still have the NGE Shadowverse Open 6 finals right around the corner. Envy, thank you for joining us one more time. Let's take a look at some of the decks and have some of your professional insight, if I may say so. This will be Shadowcraft here for JZ. And we saw a little bit about this. We were talking about Thane, and it actually did end up getting revealed. I don't know. Is there much more that you would like to talk about this deck? Really, I feel like we've really beaten the horse to death here. Orthros has been absolutely going crazy today. How do you feel, Envy?
These Orthoses today are like, did somebody rig the turn? Like, these are downright disgusting today.
Mhm.
I think I heard one of you say that you haven't seen a bad Orthros today. I haven't seen a bad. I've been watching too. I haven't seen a single bad Orthros.
Not a single
today.
bad one.
I can't even. I honestly think the Dragon Shadow is a bit. Dragon Shadow is a bit better matchup than It's got a good matchup against Dragon Sword. But that's really all I can say as far as that goes. Like Shadow, you can't talk about Shadow at this point. They're all they're all the same kind of. So
Everybody is living under the umbrella of Shadowcraft today. So let's take a look at Lest's list, and I believe it will be his Dragoncraft. This is the bread that makes Lest who Lest is, the Imperial Dragoon. I am so excited to see this card. I mean, he's been winning today, but he hasn't been winning off the back of Imperial Dragoon. He's just been beating people up with just the Dragoncraft deck. In general, I feel like it's been more successful. In fact, I would love to see the stats. I feel like, at least in the round of 8, the Dragoncraft deck hasn't lost, right? It's only been the Shadowcraft deck that has. He was able to have that amazing game where he was able to drop Forte really early, evolve it, and just sidestep everything Shadowcraft had to offer in terms of Catacomb and buffing up Shadow Reaper. It was like the perfect hand. How do you feel about this kind of iteration of Storm Dragon with Imperial Dragoon, Envy?
I think probably Storm Dragon with Imperial Dragoon as a finisher is pretty interesting. I think Storm is probably the better iteration of Dragon at the moment, just because Dragon is the only thing in the format running any heals whatsoever. And sometimes Forte we saw earlier, Forte just wins the game sometimes. She hits you 3 times and you lose. Like, no one's running any heals. Wards are kind of minimal and they're easy-ish to play around, like unless you're against Sword Luck or something. But yeah, like sometimes you just get stormed on and you just lose. And then Dragoon is kind of like a little storm follower. He can do up to 8 damage, which is more than Evolve Forte. So it can be pretty potent actually.
I'm going to quote Envy on that. Sometimes you just get stormed on.
Sometimes you just get stormed on.
Whenever I play this game and I start getting beat up, I'm going to look at that quote. Sometimes you just get stormed on, and I'm going to know that it wasn't my fault. Maybe it was. Maybe a little bit. But I definitely agree. I feel like it's a very aggressive deck. It's much quicker paced than a lot of the Dragoncraft decks we've seen in this expansion so far. If you were to give a prediction for who you think will make it out, I know you said the Dragoncraft, Shadowcraft deck is favored a little bit. Who does your heart go to, Envy?
My heart has to go to who I think is gonna win, Dragon Shadow.
Dragon Shadow.
It's the better lineup, I think.
It's going to be Dragon Shadow. I feel like you've said less. I've said less. Now Envy has said less.
I still think Noah's gonna win it. That's my prediction.
You still think Noah's
Yeah.
going to win it? Envy, get this guy off the desk.
He's gonna
Somebody
come
has
back
to go for them,
somehow.
right? We can't all 3 pick the same person. It's not fair, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay, you know what?
let him.
Devil's advocate, Jay-Z has been killing it all tournament long.
Just let me be bad at my job.
Mana
Rainy.
Surge Jay-Z, and I believe in Mana Surge extending its dominance in the NGE Shadowverse Open. I'm going for Jay-Z. I'm going for Jay-Z, and what's on the line in this particular match, this is it. First or second place, this is where you make or break it. If you get the direct invite, or if Les just eats it up for himself and becomes a first 2-time winner, let's take a look at what they have to win. 30,000 vials for first place, the Flare, a direct invite to playoffs, 10,000 vials for second place. That's kind of the, okay, you did great, buddy, but you're not first prize. And then third force is 5,000 vials. The NG emblem, of course, for all the people that we've seen fall today. And everybody has fallen except for these 2.
The last 2 remaining in week 6. This is what we've been waiting for all day.
Yeah. Before we jump into the game, I would just love to extend a heartfelt thank you again to Envy for joining us, taking time out of her busy, busy day to come hang out with us, talk, give us these fantastic blessings to get Ouroboros and Belphegor. You know what the best thing about having Envy on for this situation was? Is that we didn't get any repeat cards. That was her blessing.
That's interesting. Yeah, you're right.
So we're all...
Still, would it have been the end of the world if we both had Zeus or we both had
I would
Belphegor?
share with you one of my repeat cards.
Aw, thank you, Rainy.
You're welcome.
This guy's a nice guy. That's why we're not friends.
Wait, what? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Jay-Z, Lest. I really want to see the storyline where Lest becomes a 2-time winner. At the same time, Mana Surge has been grinding a
Mana
ton.
Surge has been grinding.
They've been grinding a ton. They've been scrimmaging, practicing, playing community tournaments, coming into the Shadowverse Open consistently, time after time after time. And Jay-Z is about to make all of that pay off. It all right. He's been playing fantastically all tournament long. When it comes down to this, let's see what happens. Jay-Z might be making a name for himself, joining Noah in the ranks of people who are going to move on to the final 16.
And Lest is going to be starting off with his Dragoncraft deck, knowing that Jay-Z was probably going to start with his best deck as well.
Every single time.
Every
3
single
times
time. Yeah,
we
starts
saw
with
the
the-
Dragon. I'm pretty sure every single time on broadcast for the Mulligan, Lest has had Imperial Dragoon in the Mulligan, thrown it away, and then won the match anyways.
If you're watching, go back and look at those matches and let us know.
Let us know at WatchNG. Oh,
Shameless plug.
shameless plug. He's got Zeus in hand. That's
Does
gonna
have
be
Zeus in
dead
hand,
for a
yep.
few turns.
More than a few. Probably 10. Probably 10 turns. Well, it could be less than 10 turns if you ramps.
Yeah, if you ramp.
He does have Dragon Oracle.
He just needs to get on the cycle and work out a little bit.
Yeah.
Pump up.
What are you hiding inside?
Hey, it's a catacomb that gets played without just him sitting down for lunch alone.
Yeah, probably like one of the first we've seen all day. It's not the first we've seen. Plenty of Catacombs played today, getting great effect just like this one. And look at this, an Orthrus play. A really great Orthrus. Oh, is it going to hit the Goblin Mage? Is it going to hit it? Oh! Yet again, we see Orthrus. Absolutely stellar.
Orthrus probably jumped off a building, rotated a minimum of 360 degrees or more, and then released his her projectile and smacked the opponent in the face.
And curved it as well,
Yeah,
so
and
it went
curved it,
around
yeah.
the building again. Yeah.
It's the most amazing display of skill.
And I like the choice to evolve the Rahab here, but if Jay's had a Lurching Corpse in his deck, I don't think he's running that card. It's absolutely like beautiful counter to massive war followers like this. We've seen here at the NGE Shadowverse Open, Lurching Corpse is trading into Goblin Mount Demons and even Zeus as well.
Now, if Orthros comes down and buffs the Skull Beast, I am going to... Oh my
gosh.
God. Oh, God.
Okay, he could still evolve the Orthrus, trade the Catacomb in as well, and that's another 5 face damage less. His Dragoncraft deck is going to be taking a massive hit here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for every single game that we've seen so far, Lest has really kind of been on the kind of upper hand.
But now we see Lest is on the back foot in this game.
His pace is kind of slowed down a lot.
Yeah, Jay-Z definitely weighing his options. Does not want to... Definitely wants to make the most optimal play here.
He's got to spawn skeletons off of it. Skeleton.
A skeleton, yes. But the Skull Beast still has the last words. Summon the skeleton as well. Jay-Z was weighing the benefit of trading an Evolve Point here on this turn.
I think he wanted to maximize the amount of shadows he got. Make sure that the Skull Beast was the one trading him with the last word effect as opposed to the Orthrus. And that little optimization could make all the difference.
Yeah.
It could
really
mean
great point
nothing,
there.
but it could make all the difference as well. It's a solid turn from Jay-Z, but he's played out a lot of the options in his hand.
Yeah, and Lest is sitting at a lot of his options as well. This match could turn around really quickly.
He's got an Oracle.
The sky's my destination.
And this is dangerous because he's not going to be able to clear out a ton of the cards here on the side of Jay-Z, meaning that the Shadow Reaper is going to be coming down, and it's going to have a lot of followers to really build off of, and the Skull Beast as well.
Yeah, and ramping there, I mean, yeah, like you really want to ramp up as much as you can, but he doesn't even have a good 7-drop in his hand. He could draw into it, and he does have Draconic Fervor. He's going to be able to heal next turn as well, but he could have healed and ramped that turn as well, but he really wanted to get that massive Skull Beast off of the field for Jay-Z.
Here we go. Just, I mean, he's got 5 damage potentially here and already only 9 health for Lest.
And with the Immortal Thane in the hand for Jay-Z, those whites could be doing tons of damage, just the right amount of damage needed for Jay-Z. If Lest isn't able to clear off the whole board, and those whites are going to be able to do a lot of damage when the other followers are cleared off the board.
I think it's over.
Yeah, I think it is. That's the healing there was great, but it's going to be a lot of damage on the board for Jay-Z.
The sky's
Yeah,
my
he's
destination.
really going to leave it up to chance. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Now, jump into the wind.
And it's not really going to give him more damage to throw in his 1 damage guys because that's just a 1-to-1 trade.
Right.
So he's still going to do 5 damage here. 1 turn left for Lest.
And that one turn, he wasn't able to ramp up fast enough. He's only going to be on turn 9. He's not going to be able to summon Bahamut. He's not going to be able to get Zeus on the field either.
And he doesn't have Evolve Orbs to really give something like an Israfil drop the added benefit of healing and clearing.
Right. We'll see what the final turn is for here. He's going to summon the Immortal
Oh,
Thane just
man.
to get one of the whites on his side of the field.
What a situation. I think this is pretty much checkmate.
Greetings.
And that's it. He got his Imperial Dragoon. And that's not going to be the card he wants to see. He's going to play it.
He's going to play it, but it's going to summon the White King in the hand of Jay-Z, and clear the board and gets rid of his entire hand as well.
I mean, it's just a matter of time.
But
right?
that card did save him. Save
Yeah.
him one more turn, but I think you're right. This game is, it's going to come down to a matter of
Yeah.
time unless Last is able to
Mad
draw
Cyclone.
a really great card this turn. Bahamut, Zeus even would be great. Rahab,
Rahab.
that's
It
going to be able
doesn't
to
matter.
get a lot of attack damage.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
just because Grimner will pierce through all the damage,
Yep.
right? So
Mhm.
really, Les needs to find some significant method of healing, and even then, the Bane into the Rahab and then the killing blow.
And even the Grimnir on the side of the field. Yep.
It's just so much pressure that he has.
Yep, next turn, the enhanced Grimnir going to be coming out. And without an
No.
evolve point, he's not going to be able to heal up.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to kill off the Ouroboros.
Ow.
There it is. Actually came really close. A fantastic play on the Imperial Dragoon, but you throw away all your options.
Yep.
Right. And that's kind of the big issue and why you want to use that card as a finisher. So you drop every single card in your hand.
Yeah, if Les was able to put on enough pressure, that Imperial Dragoon could have won him the game because he brought Jay-Z down to 6 health there at the end of the game.
Yeah, the combination of Raha being able to buff up was actually pretty good synergy with the Imperial Dragoon, but it's just too little too late, right? Once he got pushed down to that health level that was below what Grimner could reach, it's just so tough to get out of that option. The good thing here for Les is that he has another chance, right? He could either play his Dragoncraft deck again, or he could go to Shadowcraft and try to match Jay-Z's Swordcraft deck there. So, in many ways, kind of statistically, the toughest deck is out of the way. He doesn't have to worry about that. He just has to think about his Swordcraft matchups. Right. So Les is still in it, but Jay-Z had a fantastic series of decisions to make there in the previous game, earning him the lead 1-0.
Yeah, and Mana Surge making his stand here, putting their foot down and saying, we are not going to go quietly into the night. We are going to take this. They have the massive chance of getting a huge lead in the standings here.
Come on.
If Jay-Z is able to take this last, the Shadow deck could prove once again why it's so dominant in this current meta.
All right. No one drop here for Jay-Z. A handful of Prince Catacombs. But going on turn 2 means you're likely going to get denied your follower here.
A whole gaggle of catacombs.
A whole gaggle. Is gaggle the term?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. That's what I just said. And no one else has coined up a term for a group of catacombs, have they? I mean, probably not. Maybe.
You're going to now just coin that phrase, a gaggle.
Gaggle. Okay, yeah.
Somehow my heart disagrees.
Doesn't seem right somehow.
Doesn't seem right.
No. It's totally wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I just like it. I like it because it's wrong. That's the thing.
Zombie Party plus Skull Beast. This is a pretty good turn.
And the turn going over to Jay-Z. He does have
Youngling.
the Jenna, which is great. It's going to be left with 2 health trading into the Skull Beast like that, which is really nice. And there's not really a solid foreplay from Les, which is a shame. You really want to be able to. You could. He's going to have to summon the Catacomb, evolve, and attack into the Jenna to really get the most out of this turn.
Dance, dear bones of
Prince
light.
Catacomb to evolve.
And on this turn, Jay-Z is going to be able to evolve an Albert.
The interesting thing here is we've seen so many times today where players are unwilling to trade into Geno, and that 4 damage ended up becoming the winning token for a Swordcraft player. In fact, I think it was against Jay-Z, where he's able to barely eke by because his Geno was able to swing with 4 and then get himself past that Dragoncraft matchup.
Yeah.
Maybe in a very similar fashion here, Lest in clearing that Geno
Want to play?
has bought himself the opportunity to make something solid happen here for him in this matchup and try to tie it up.
My armor's been pierced.
He's got the Catacomb installed. It's going to mean that
And he does have Ector in his hand. We've seen it a few times today where players don't draw in the Ector before turn 7, but he's got it. And if he could maintain this board, he's got Death's Breath next turn as well. And it's going to be real difficult for Jay-Z to get rid of that with no kind of AoE clear. He doesn't have Cyclone Blade, for example. But there is an enhanced Geno available. He has 2 whole souled swings. So we'll see how he chooses to use his play points this turn. Yeah, Whole Souled Swing would take out the Soul Squasher.
At your service.
And then the Angel of the Word would be able to take out the last skeleton as well. And you could spend your last evolve point trading into the skeleton that remains after the Angel of the Word. I don't know if that's what he wants to do, but he's going to summon the Geno, give a Father with 4 attack on the board. It's gonna be
I
real
think he's at
difficult.
the health level, and it's not quite at the high play point count yet where you would really value taking it out. This Orthrus could be very high value here, just in terms of getting damage onto Jay-Z's face. But by the same token, okay, it looks like he's just going to go for board clear here. No, opts not to play the Orthrus at all.
I'll show
Yeah, he's
you.
going to leave the warded zombie alive with 1 health. I really like that play. It's going to be difficult for Jay-Z to have to deal with this.
He pulls another Albert, and that's not really the card you want to see. Angel of the Word could be good here.
God's word.
And in the end, I mean, saving that evolve, I think, was a really good choice.
Yeah, saving that evolve for the turn 9 enhanced Albert. Absolutely very crucial, very important. We'll see if if Jay-Z decides to use his last evolve point on the Angel though. He's deciding whether or not to play the Whole Souled Swing. He'll get the 9 on his side of the field. But either way, he's not going to be able to take off
At your
both of the
service.
zombies.
Could evolve the
It
Knight,
won't be long now.
take down the 2/3.
I'll save you all.
And I think that was kind of the ideal play.
Yeah. And then for less this next turn, Ector is going to be able to summon at least 1 zombie, and then buff up the zombie that has ward as well.
There's a lot of good options here in the hand of
He's going to
Lest.
save the Ector. I like that. I like that. Nice.
Orthrus has arrived.
Buff of the Bone Chimera. And the Bone Chimera guarantees that he's going to have 2.
Welcome home, sir.
Luminous Mage is great
You
in
and
this
I
scenario.
met.
Definitely great.
My sword brings hope. It all ends here. Turn the power of hope to light. Ow!
Could soul conversion on the Chimera after it attacks, and then you have
Shadowcraft?
then you'd have 2 skeletons that will be able to get buffed up by Ector.
Shadowcraft is in kind of an interesting place right now, just because Les has good options in hand, but he's actually quickly running out of cards, and so Soul Conversion is going to be big here. He needs to draw something good. Soul Squatcher is fairly valuable, but I think he wants to save his shadows.
Right.
Going to spend them on the Ector, and that's going to give him a strong board.
Take up my shield.
But we're in that 9 play point territory here,
Apologies, sir.
where Albert kind of comes into full swing.
Don't
You
you
could
mean
put
whole
Albert
soul
down.
swing?
Prepare for battle.
Albert can attack twice, but
Yeah.
sorry about that. I had to. I
He
couldn't
can
resist.
take down Ector here for free.
Yeah,
Well, for free, for 9.
9 play
play
points,
points,
but
yeah.
not taking any damage,
Yeah.
which is absolutely massive. That's a 5 health follower that Les is going to have to chew through.
And he still has another Albert hiding in the deck somewhere, right?
Right.
So
That's right.
he could actually have some very strong back-to-back turns here.
Has arrived.
He's going to be able to get some face damage and the first face damage of this game.
Going very, very late.
Not something I say often in a sword shadow matchup, wouldn't you say?
The Grimner pops up here.
Oh my gosh. I
I'm
wouldn't have
sorry.
been that surprised.
I
But you
apologize.
called it.
I apologize for what I've done. I deeply regret my actions.
Why did you have to say it, man?
I will endeavor
man.
not to repeat the same mistakes.
Oh, geez. But, I mean, the Grimnir is just going to put the Goblin King in the hand of Lest as well. Definitely the optimal play, though, being able to clear off all those other followers. Wow.
And again, I talk about, look at what options Lest has in hand. He's got a Bone Chimera and a Soul Squasher, right?
Yeah.
Goblin King is going to be great, and that's going to tide him over for just a little bit, but it's actually looking a little bit concerning.
Yeah,
For
Albert-
Jay-Z as well, but at least Albert in hand is like a very strong
Mhm.
power pick, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, Albert can turn the Goblin King into mincemeat. I don't think Jay-Z is worried about that at all. But would you want to use your Albert not knowing when the next one is going to come up? I'm just thinking, I mean, you kind of have to get rid of that ward. Oh, Tsubaki. Oh, my gosh.
Boy.
Wow.
This is looking from bad to worse now. Novice Trooper can even be dropped for a little bit of extra board control or face damage. He's going to go for face, and I think the aggressive option might pay off here just because he knows that, and the Skull Beast is a draw, because he knows Tsubaki can swing here, so he's got 6, and that's lethal on the next turn.
Oh, my gosh.
It's done. There it is.
There it is.
Jay-Z is going to be able to be the next winner for the NGE Shadowverse Open. Albert comes down.
He held on to that Albert to the last moment. He had to use his evolve points, but he knew that if he could get down, if he could get less down to a certain amount of health, Albert would be able to win him the game, and that's exactly what happened.
Tsubaki for the killing blow. She definitely gave Lest her Blade of Resentment.
Yep.
And Jay-Z will move on to be the second Mana Surge tournament winner here, joining Noah in the ranks of players who will be moving on to the playoffs. Take a look at the bracket there. Mana Surge's Jay-Z had an incredible path through first Blaine, then through Underwear, and now against Les being able to take the 2-0 victory. Some very good Swordcraft play, and especially the Shadowcraft deck definitely held up on its own against so many mirror matches, as well as just fighting through Dragoncraft decks here and there. Nearly actually lost control against Les with that one Imperial Dragoon play, but he had the cards in hand. He had the Grimner for the direct damage, put on a lot of pressure early on. Let's take a look, or rather a few things to cover here before we bid you adieu. Shadowverse.ng.io. Make sure to check that out. Get all the information about tournaments, how to sign up, how to watch, what times the tournament starts, what times the broadcast starts, who the previous winners are. @WatchNGE is going to be our social media channel. You can talk to us about anything Shadowverse or NGE related, Shadowverse Open related. Love to hear your thoughts. And then, of course, our giveaway. Make sure you check the Twitch panel for more information. 3,500 vials up for grabs. And before we go, I'd love if we could throw up that leaderboard graphic one more time. And of course, it's going to be slightly different the next time you see it because MSJZ will be up there joining the ranks of all the other tournament winners. And with that, I think it's come to that time of the evening. Thanks again to Envy Bear for joining us and kind of sharing a very special time with us. That's Sterling. I'm Rainey. Thank you for watching the NGE Shadowverse Open. We will see you guys next week.